U.S. town of Ferguson has seen rioting and looting after a jury decided not to bring charges over the killing of a black teenager. Michael Brown was shot by a white police officer, Darren Wilson, on August 9, sparking protests. A police chief said violence in the suburb of St. Louis, Missouri, was probably much worse than on any night since the teenager's death. Many in the African-American community had called for Wilson to be charged with murder, but following deliberations, a Missouri grand jury of 9 white and 3 black members made no recommendation of charges.
We love that. Guess what now? You know, so we cannot leave this without giving us a lively complaint. Live lively complaint. Yeah, man. If one and name do where you have to do. Say do where you have to do. Say from your cleaning and yard. Tell me say do where you have to do. Say do where you have to do. Say do where you have to do. From you now I'm not out to talk. Tell me say do where you have to do. Say do where you have to do. Say do where you have to do. Come from your wise and from the smart. Tell me say do where you have to do. I do what you have to do. I do what you have to do. I do what you have to do. Alright. If you want to step up in a life, well, do what you have to do. You want a decent wife. Do what you have to do. And have the things them off your eyes. Do what you have to do. Sunday peace and rice. Do what you have to do. For your living is right. Do what you have to do. Yeah, man. Do what you have to do. I know talk around. Do what you have to do. Do what you have to do. Yeah, man. More love and more blessing. I will say turn it up. I will say up. I will say more fire. I will say blaze. I will say jam roll. Man.
Right now, we have to do what we have to do. Yeah. Let's take my e-bus. Yeah.
All right.
We can't wait to see it soon.
Bless up fire, man. Bless up your time, family. More fire, man. Bless up. Some thing only turn around and I know everybody I go like you. Yeah, no for them still a figure fight you. Yeah, I know everybody I go rate you. So Irie, them like a fool they try copy them fish. Stop it.
Irie FM wishes to advise that the views expressed on the Cutting Edge are not necessarily those of the company.
Yeah. This is not a you I say. Irie FM is roots rock reggae.
Hear this.
And all them other liquid stations. What me say? A straight reggae. You hear that?
Radio, cutting edges on your stereo, yeah. Mutabaruka leads the way, so just you let the station play, yeah. Say your teachings got to hold on me, yeah. Well, this is Kimani and you're listening to, Mutabaruka. Irie FM. Cutting edge. Whoa.
Teach these truths to your children. Teach your children that they need nothing exterior to themselves to be happy. No person, place, or thing, and that true happiness is found within. Teach them that they are sufficient unto themselves. Teach them this, and you will have taught them grandly. Teach your children that failure is a fiction, that every trying is a success, and that every effort is what achieves the victory. The first, no less honorable than the last. Teach them this, and you will have taught them grandly. Teach your children that they are deeply connected to all of life, that they are one with all people, that they are never separate from God. Teach them this, and you will have taught them grandly. Teach your children that they live in a world of magnificent abundance, that there is enough for everyone, and that it is in sharing the most, not in gathering the most is received. Teach them this, and you will have taught them grandly. Teach your children that there's nothing that they are required to be or to do to be eligible for a life of dignity and fulfillment. That they need not compete with anyone for anything. And that God's blessings are meant for everyone. Teach them this, and you will have taught them grandly.
Teach your children that they will never be judged, that they need not worry about always getting it right, and that they do not have to change anything or get better to be seen as perfect and beautiful in the eyes of God. Teach them this, and you will have taught them grandly. Teach your children that consequences and punishment are not the same thing, that death does not exist, and that God would never condemn anyone. Teach them this, and you will have taught them grandly. Teach your children that there are no conditions to love, that they need not worry about ever losing your love or God's, and that their own love, unconditionally shared, is the greatest gift they can give to the world. Teach them this, and you will have taught them grandly. Teach your children that being special does not mean being better, that claiming superiority over someone is not seeing them for who they really are, and that there is great healing in acknowledging mine is not a better way, mine is merely another way. Teach them this, and you will have taught them grandly. Teach your children that there is nothing they cannot do, that the illusion of ignorance can be eradicated from the earth, and that all anyone really needs is to be given back to themselves by being reminded of who they really are. Teach them this, and you will have taught them grandly. Teach these things not with your words, but with your actions, not with discussion, but with demonstration. For it is not what you do that your children will emulate, but how you are that they will become.
REFM, thought-provoking, always smoking, lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Give thanks and praise for all that our God has done. No matter what the heathens try, no matter what they condemn my life, 'cause I've got Jah, oh Jah, Rastafari. Yes, we've got Jah, oh Jah, Rastafari. Been ridiculed, verbally crucified, and yes, they tried to take my life, but one by one they fall. With my Father's name I call, my tears will not go in vain, and strength will flow from my pain. Oh, Jah, Rastafari, Selassie, will strengthen I. Yes, we've got Jah.
Yeah, good night. This is the Cutting Edge, and I refer there with you next Wednesday. You're listening to Etana. That CD I deserve to go get a nomination in the Grammy, you know. A long time you're a reggae female artist in a Grammy. We are say this album, your I Rise, should be nominated in the Grammy. Yes.
No matter what the heathens try, no matter what they can't dim my light, 'cause we've got Jah, oh Jah, Rastafari, Selassie, yes, I've got Jah.
For in my heart there is a melody, it's a melody, it's a melody. In my heart there is a melody, it's a melody of love. In our heart there is a melody, it's a melody, it's a melody. In our heart there is a melody, it's a melody of love. Lead us, guide and keep us in heavenly way. God will guide and keep us all the livelong day. For in our heart there is a melody, it's a melody, it's a melody. In our heart there is a melody, it's a melody of love. In our heart there is a melody, it's a melody, it's a melody. In our heart there is a melody, it's a melody of love. Lead us, guide and keep us in His heavenly way, and He will lead us all the livelong day. For in our heart there is a melody, it's a melody, it's a Zion. In our heart there is a melody, it's a melody of love. In our heart there is a melody.
Listening to Ras Michael and the Sons of Negos. This is the Cutting Edge. We have Monique in the studio and we have Brian in the studio. So we have enough company. Usually we just have the operator and the security guard outside. Well, when it come on to Brian, it don't make no difference because I'm soon drop asleep. Okay, so you know, so tonight we're going to go back to normal programming because last week we tell you said this month is revision month, but last week wasn't a revised month because we didn't have Lady Marcia Griffiths. Well, this week we're going to go back to the revision, and as we have said, we're going to play some tape this month where Cutting Edge is known for, and the reason why Cutting Edge is so popular because we do an innovative thing on radio, and that is to play lectures about any subject where we choose for play so that the people them can really get a different perspective. Not the normal perspective where you hear on radio every day, but these are people from all across the world giving their perspective, and as we usually say, you can take what you want, take and throw what you want, throw it. And understand, when I force not long nobody with us, I say, we present it, and you decide what is what. So tonight, we're going to play Shadows. Yeah. We know y'all say we play Shadows already. No, this is the week before last we play Shadows 2. We're going to play Shadows 1 this week. You understand? And you don't want to miss it. Believe you me. You don't want to miss this one. Shadows 1. Serious conversation going from the Muslim perspective. Yes, so why you listen out for that, because as we say, it's going to be very interesting. Just 1 hour long show, just 1 hour.
untested ancient Egyptian papyrus that references Jesus as a married man is more likely an authentic ancient text rather than a modern forgery, says a paper published in the Harvard Theological Review Tuesday. In 2012, Harvard Divinity School professor Karen King presented the fragment, called Gospel of Jesus' Wife, at a conference in Rome. Controversial passages read, Jesus said to them, "My wife. And also she will be able to be my disciple." The latter caused a stir amid the backdrop of a continuing debate within the Catholic Church on whether women should be allowed to be priests. Although the Vatican immediately dismissed the text as a clumsy forgery, teams of engineering, biology, and chemistry professors from Columbia University, Harvard University, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology concluded after carbon testing that it is written on papyrus from the ancient era. An Egyptologist at Brown University, however, maintained that the document is a fraud. The University of Arizona said that it could not come to a firm conclusion given the small sample size. King told the Boston Globe that the important argument isn't whether or not Jesus was married. As one text doesn't prove fact, I'm basically hoping that we can move past the issue of forgery to questions about the significance of this fragment for the history of Christianity. For thinking about questions like, why does Jesus being married, or not, even matter? Why is it that people had such an incredible reaction to this?
At 11 o'clock, we're going to present Shadows, following up on the one that we played 3 weeks ago. Yes, Shadows 2. Well, this is Shadows 1 we're going to play tonight. And as we say, you're not going to want to miss this. So get your coffee, get your matching stick, and get your needle. You know, these needles and matching stick can hold up your eye. You understand? So you just stick the needle from the bottom part of your eye and use the pointed part to hold up your eye. And the coffee is to keep you awake. Yes. For those of you who love to cook them over the night when coaching age go and can put on the pot from now. You understand? Yeah, man. Why yell up all the people them who are work them over the night and know says coaching age make them work harder. Believe you me, all security guard them who did not go sleep. And make people rob the people them place through them asleep. Now so them can't rob the place them because cutting it up on the radio because the thief are listen. Right, Shirley, them call him the high priest of soul, you know, reggae, the high priest of rock steady too. Right, Shirley.
Question number 4. Do the Gospels contain eyewitness tradition?
When I was a Bible-believing evangelical Christian, attending Moody Bible Institute, before I began my serious scholarship on the New Testament, before I began to read it in Greek, and before I saw what serious scholars of the world had to say about it, I was absolutely convinced that the Gospels not only contained eyewitness tradition, but that they were written by 2 eyewitnesses, Matthew and John, and by 2 people who were close companions to people who were eyewitnesses, Mark and Luke. Intense research has a way of changing your mind about things. But I don't want you to think that this is a reason for you not to use your brain. Even if you are the most hardcore, Bible-believing evangelical on the planet, you surely think that God gave you a brain. Use your brain. Craig and I will agree on this. God gave you a brain to think with. Apply reason. That's why God made you a human being instead of a slug. Don't be afraid of using your intelligence to find out the truth. The truth may not be what you were taught, but if it's true, you should believe it, not run from it. As I studied more and more using my intelligence as an evangelical, but also praying about it, I became convinced that the New Testament Gospels were not written by eyewitnesses or by people who knew eyewitnesses. The first point to make is the rather obvious one that the Gospels don't claim to be written by eyewitnesses. They are all anonymous. The titles in your Gospels, the Gospel according to Matthew and so forth, were added by later editors. They were not put there by the original authors. Second point, none of the Gospels claims to be written by the person whose name it bears. They don't claim to be written by eyewitnesses, and they don't claim to be written by people named Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are later traditions that were added to the Gospels. These traditions do not start appearing for about 100 years. Some people think that there is an early church father named Papias who attests to the witness of Mark and Matthew, but in fact there are very solid reasons for thinking that Papias, who lived around the year 120 to 140, is not referring to our Mark or our Matthew. The first time anybody refers to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John by name is Irenaeus in the year 180, 100 years after these books were written. My understanding of the Gospels, as they've come down to us, is that they were anonymous, and we don't know their names, and they're not built on eyewitness testimony. But the important point that I want to make is that even if the Gospels were written by eyewitnesses, or even if they did contain eyewitness accounts, that would not guarantee that they were accurate. Think about our legal system today. Are eyewitnesses always accurate in what they report? If so, why do we have trials that call in testimony more than one eyewitness? If eyewitnesses were always 100% accurate in what they report, we wouldn't need law courts. If we wanted to know what happened, we would simply ask somebody. Eyewitnesses do not always get all the information right. But even if they did, it wouldn't matter because the Gospels of the New Testament don't claim to be written by eyewitnesses, and in fact they were not written by eyewitnesses. The Gospel writers were living 40 to 50 to 60 years after Jesus died. They wrote the Gospels in Greek. Jesus' language was Aramaic. These Gospel writers were living in a different country. Decades later, where did they get their information from? They were not the followers of Jesus. They don't claim to be followers of Jesus, the disciples. They're written by later people decades later in a different language. Where did they get their information from? They heard stories about Jesus that had been in circulation year after year after year, decade after decade, down to the time that the gospel writers living in a different country, speaking a different language, heard the stories. What happens to oral stories when they are transmitted orally? They change. The gospel writers have discrepancies among themselves because the stories that were told and retold were changed over time, and the gospel writers themselves sometimes changed the stories. That's why there are discrepancies. That's why scholars might be able to tell you generally what Jesus was about, They can list 8 things that Jesus did, but they can't tell you the details and agree. Why can't scholars agree? Because there are so many discrepancies that the Gospels are not reliable.
REFM, thought-provoking, always smoking, lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge on RFM with you. You know, say, we'll tell you, so we're going to play a tape. Well, it's 11 o'clock, we're going to play it for those of you who are set out for you to listen to it. Yes, okay, alright. So, we're going to play this tune after my sister where we work upstairs. You know, say, the studio is right on there, so we have to play this tune here for Cabo. Great program manager, program director. Yeah, man. Cabo.
Mutabaruka. Muta getting me sharp. It's a cut.
Oh,
music called Sacred Rock. Asta Wake out of Ethiopia. Sacred Rock. Translation in Ethiopia, Kabul. This is the cutting edge. Yes, greetings.
Hi, is that Muta?
Yeah, this is Muta.
Hi, Muta. I'm so thrilled to be speaking to you. I'm calling from the United States.
We're in the United States.
In Helena, Montana.
Okay.
And I was born and raised in England, but I live in the USA now. My parents are from Jamaica. And I just want to say how, I don't even know how to describe your program, how it has really opened my eyes to religion and critical thinking. I think that's the main thing I have to say listening to you. And so I'm just so thrilled to even be speaking to you.
Well, give thanks, and I'm glad to know that critical thinking is part of your forte here. You know, it's always good to be thinking critically about things that you hear and don't just take it as you hear it, you know?
Yeah, because I was born and raised a Christian, and then I transitioned from that. I went to Egypt. And when I went there and I saw the obelisks and the pyramids, you know, it sort of registered with me, but I didn't start asking questions about Christianity. And then as the years went by, I, went into what they called, I'm sure you've heard of them, you've been on, was the Ian Bowen show on about the Hebrew Israelites and so on.
I've been there with them in Israel, in Damona, Israel.
Yeah. And so I transitioned to that, and then it was this year I was listening to a guy, I don't know if you've heard of him, from the UK. He's an MP there called George Galloway, and he started talking about the Gaza Strip, and I started to ask myself a question, is there a legitimate claim to the land? Because, I'm in America, and they've displaced the Native Americans, and so this seems to be happening, and that's what kind of opened my eyes to start really asking the question, okay, is there any proof for displacing people? And so that opened the critical thinking about even the Bible, and can I prove it? If it's a faith claim, that's fine, but is there critical evidence for what I believe? And there isn't. And so I'm just so grateful for your program. I listen to you every day at work. I can listen to the internet every day. I listen to the Cutting Edge and Stepping Razor. I think you're just outstanding.
Give thanks. How old are you?
I can't give that. A gentleman never asked a lady her age.
I am not a gentleman. I am not a gentleman. And furthermore, it's not a television. I cannot see you. I don't know who you are, so it don't make no difference.
I'm old enough. Put it that way.
Okay. Even though I can't see you, you still can't tell me.
I'm just embarrassed about my age. I don't like to give out my age. I have a young voice, but...
Yeah, the thing with it, that young people usually give an older age and older people usually give a young age.
Yes. After you reach a certain age, you want to go back in time, but you can't go back. So.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
I don't know what to say to you.
No, don't say your age. Don't say your age then. If you feel embarrassed about your age, don't say it. But I really give thanks.
No, but I just wanted to say about your show, and I don't think you realize you're on YouTube and the impact that you may be having out there that you're not aware of on people, because since I started listening to you, I was never really interested in Jamaica, even though my parents was born there. I was just an English girl, and I wasn't even into cultural things until, the past few years. But it's the critical thinking. I keep hearing that when you speak to religious people, any kind of religion, they just can't be critical about their faith. They can't step out of the box and think logically. It's all based, it's in the book, and the book says it, so therefore it's true. So,
yes,
I just think you're just amazing.
Oh, well, continue listening, we were always there for you,
Okay, then, Marita, keep up the great work.
Okay, where's Montana you calling from?
Helena, Montana, yes.
That's
in the
that's
far
a distance.
north of America.
And up there it's snowing now, right?
We have about 6 inches of snow at the moment, so it's a challenge, but I like it here because the quality of life there's no crime, and you can leave your door open, and I like it here. But I'm a minority. I'm a remnant here, but I like it.
Yes, okay. All right, give thanks, sister. Give thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Shalom. Peace to you.
Yes, that was a very refreshing call in the night, Brian. Yes. A very refreshing call in the night, Okay, what would they know? Would still add more advertisement again?
No.
Well, they had advertisement them yet. Okay. But to continue the journey,
Hey, folks, welcome to another edition of Questions Protestants Can't Answer. Today's question is, who wrote the Gospel of Mark? And how do you know? I'm John Martinoni, president and founder of the Bible Christian Society, and today's question is focused on the idea of sola scriptura, which is Latin for the Bible alone, or the Bible only, which is one of the fundamental pillars of most of Protestantism, that we can know all we need to know about our Christian faith and about Christian morals by simply picking up the Bible and reading. So this question, who wrote the book of Mark, is a very important question, because what it does is, if all I need to know about Christianity I get from the Bible, if the Bible is my sole authority in matters of faith and morals, which it is for most Protestants, Christianity I get from the Bible, if the Bible is my sole authority in matters of faith and morals, which it is for most Protestants, how can they answer that question? Because nowhere in the Bible does it tell us who wrote the book of Mark. This thing right here at the beginning of the Gospel of Mark in Scripture that says, the Gospel according to Mark, that's not inspired Scripture. That's put in there by the publisher of the Bible. We don't have any originals from Mark that say, I, Mark, wrote this Gospel, or that say the Gospel according to Mark. So again, if you go by the Bible alone, how do you know that Mark wrote Mark? That somebody named Mark even wrote Mark? And how do you know that that Mark was inspired? Where in the Bible does it tell you who wrote the Gospel of Mark, so that you may trust that it is inspired Scripture? Because if you don't know who wrote it, how can you know it's inspired Scripture? This is very, very important. So as Catholics, we need to ask everyone who believes in the Bible alone as their sole rule of faith, who wrote Mark? And if they say Mark, the secretary of Peter and companion of Paul, the next question is, how do you know? Because I read Mark and there's nothing here that says, I, Mark, companion of Peter and Paul, wrote this gospel. Nothing in Luke that tells me, nothing in Paul's letters that tells me who wrote the Gospel of Mark. So what authority are you relying on? It's not the Scriptures to know who wrote Mark. So again, the question is, who wrote the Gospel of Mark, and how do you know?
REFM, thought-provoking, always smoking, lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
And here's a very provocative question I want to ask. Because we grow up believing a whole heap of things, and when we grow big, we check it out. No matter who say it, we have to question the validity of it. Now, I grew up to hear that the first 5 books of the Bible was written by a man named Moses. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Everybody have that conclusion in their mind. If you go up on the street, anyway, even though people are not Christian, them say it's the book of Moses. Now, I asked for a program on a radio station several months ago. Them have me and a preacher and a next man there. And we attack. And my question was, if it's Moses write the books, why is he speaking in the third person? Why is he writing the book in the third person? That is a question. The preacher almost get vexed with me. If is Moses write Genesis and Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers, why him don't include himself in the book as the writer? Why is he speaking in the third person? That is a question.
And how do you know that that Mark was inspired? Where in the Bible does it tell you who wrote the Gospel of Mark so that you may trust that it is inspired Scripture? Because if you don't know who wrote it, how can you know it's inspired Scripture? This is very, very important. So as Catholics, we need to ask everyone who believes in the Bible alone as their sole rule of faith, who wrote Mark? And if they say Mark, the secretary of Peter and companion of Paul, the next question is, how do you know? Because I read Mark and there's nothing here that says, I, Mark, companion of Peter and Paul, wrote this gospel. Nothing in Luke that tells me, nothing in Paul's letters that tells me who wrote the Gospel of Mark. So what authority are you relying on? It's not the Scriptures to know who wrote Mark. So again, the question is, who wrote the Gospel of Mark, and how do you know?
REFM. You are listening to Mutabaruka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Yeah, this is Gabriel. Big up Mutabaruka. Muta your thing sharp. It's a cut.
Yes, I refer busy out the road there, may I tell you. We tell you, so we are going to come live from Brownstone the 24th. Manika, the 24th? Yeah, we're going to Brownstone live and entertainment Boston, don't it? Yeah. Eh? Yeah. Back to back, 2 program. Right now, the excitement and the confusion of a Brownstone there. Okay, so we're going to the 24th. Then wait there. We're not going to the 26th. On my birthday night, that you know, we're not deal with it. Live from Mutabaruka house, you know. You think I joke, I mean, I pay on no money neither. To come up on my yard, come broadcast live, you know. Okay. All right. So, as we promised you, this is part 1 of a program we played a couple weeks ago. We gave you part 2 first, but now this is part 1. From a Muslim perspective. This is called Shadows. Listen, seriously listen.
$50 a barrel in the opening days of 1990 to a mere $13.60 a barrel by summer.
We didn't come over on the Nita, the Pinta, and the whatchamacallit. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Where's the outcry? Why? You can get all the film and the footage of all the carnage in Los Angeles, but you can show me no footage of any damage in Iraq. And all you show me is some surgical strike. Now, 1 year later, it comes out that these so-called surgical strikes were extended.
August 2nd, 1990, Saddam Hussein's forces crashed through the defenses of oil-rich Kuwait. In fear of an Iraqi invasion into Saudi Arabia, the United States and her coalition allies poured into the Arabian Peninsula to form a deterrent that would be known as Desert Shield. The result was a series of diplomatic talks negotiations and counter-negotiations that rapidly declined into a no-hope situation. On August the 17th, 1991, Desert Shield became Desert Storm. The conflict was witnessed by millions through the eye of CNN and the BBC, showing propaganda of the systematic eradication of Saddam's forces by a coalition far superior in technological, political, and economic power. However, what was little known was that from the outset the war was engineered, controlled, and manipulated by an elite group. A group which had created the illusion of a man with power at the head of a million-strong army on the verge of going nuclear. A man who had gained control over 1/5 of the world's oil overnight. However, in reality, he was merely a pawn, in amongst many pawns, just a puppet in a grand master plan, with the Gulf War as a well-orchestrated stepping stone. The orchestrators of the war were by no means strangers to controlling major world events. In fact, they have done so for centuries. From the shadows, they have engineered every major war, revolution, and recession. They control everything you read, everything you hear, and everything you see. They have managed to indoctrinate an entire populace to their way of thinking, and have infiltrated key positions in places of authority. And it is from the shadows that they have created a new political order, a new economic order, and more sinister, a new religious order. Their ultimate aim is total global domination, and they will stop at nothing to reach their goal. The goal that was outlined in a speech given by former President of the United States, George Bush.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
However, the origins of this global plan were not created in the offices of the White House. In reality, their roots lay in another war. This time, the year is 1095, and the place, Clermont, France. The 11th century Europe was ruled by the Church, which held a firm grip on the hearts and minds of the people. This power enabled Pope Urban II to wage war on the Muslim Caliphate and crusade in what he called a War of the Cross to recapture the land of Jerusalem. It had been under Muslim rule since the year 637, but in 1099 this rule was brought to a bloody and sudden end. In the name of the cross, women were raped and murdered. Children were put to the sword, and it is said that blood ran in the streets knee-high to the horses. Out of this land of bloodshed and terror, a group of men arose. Men that would stop at nothing to get what they wanted, no matter what the cost. 20 years after Jerusalem was taken, the Dome of the Rock was seized by a group of warrior monks calling themselves the Knights of the Temple of Solomon, or more simply, the Knights Templars. In Jerusalem, the Templars began to deviate further and further away from the practices of Christianity. They learned the secret arts of the Kabbalah, an ancient form of Jewish magic, along with its dark rites and rituals. The Jews had learned the arts from the pagans of ancient Egypt during the times of enslavement to the Pharaoh, and developed them into Babylon at the time of Nebuchadnezzar. In 1307, King Philippe of France arrested them for charges of denial of Christ, homosexuality, and idol worship, as well as magic. In 1314, Pope Clement V declared all Templars as heretics to Christianity, ordering all their properties to be seized. Their leader, Jacques de Molay, was captured and burnt to the stake. The Templars were cornered, and just when it seemed they were finished forever, a glimmer of hope arose from a seemingly certain end. They were to find a safe haven as well as an ally. But not in France. In fact, in a country in a desperate struggle for independence against the English, the country of Scotland. For some, Scotland's hope of independence had died with the death of William Wallace. However, to the King of Scotland, Robert the Bruce, the arrival of the Templars gave him a new secret weapon. Their experience, gained over 200 years of fighting the mighty armies of Islam, had made them expert in combat and warfare, and more than a match for any army brought before them. In 1314, the Templars, allied with Robert the Bruce and his army, took to the fields of Bannockburn in the long-awaited showdown with the English. Robert the Bruce's foresight paid off. The 25,000-strong English army suffered a humiliating defeat at the hands of only 6,500 men. The dream of an independent Scotland had finally been achieved. The Templars had brought themselves back from the brink of destruction, and never again would they allow themselves to be destroyed. This time, they would control the country by controlling its kings, and in order to preserve their secret order, the Templars would have to die, or more precisely, the name would have to die. The Templars, who had escaped Europe, were finally laid to rest in Roslin Chapel, Scotland, which stands to this day as sign of their presence in Britain. Their descendants became the true power of Scotland. In 1603, the death of Queen Elizabeth I left England without an heir to the throne. By virtue of descent, King James V of Scotland became King of England. In doing so, Scotland and England joined to form a new kingdom, and the power that the Templars held over Scotland spread to give them a firm grip on the whole of Great Britain. For over 100 years, the Templars concealed their activities, fading into the background until they were little known and little remembered. However, they did not cease to keep a firm grip on Britain. All the time they were planning, regrouping, and infiltrating positions of power in all corners of the kingdom. In 1717, the Templars made their reappearance in Europe. They had grown in both number and strength, and were now ready to coin a new identity, free from their reputation of the past, and given credibility by none other than the monarchy and aristocracy of England. And the name they chose for themselves was a name that would be known by many, but understood by a few. This new name, the Freemasons. The new identity and the grandeur of its members afforded the Masons with respect and dignity. The first royal member of the Freemasons was Frederick, Prince of Wales. The latest members include Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, and consort to the current Queen of England, Elizabeth II, who herself is a grand patron to the Masons. However, behind closed doors, the Freemasons were free to indulge in the secret rites and rituals handed down to them by their ancestors, and these became the basis of their levels of membership, called degrees. The Freemasons were not content with power in Britain alone. Their ambitions were far greater. In the years to come, the world would witness Europe and America being plagued by wars and revolutions, each more devastating than the other. However, these would not be as commonly believed the spontaneous effects of a downtrodden people, but in fact schemes created by the exclusive few driven by hunger for absolute power. All this would take place from the very country from which they had fled centuries earlier, and would come with a base for their global domination. In 18th century France, the majority of the population was very poor, whilst the aristocracy and royalty lived a life of luxury and extravagance. There existed a wide gulf between the two classes. The Freemasons would use this to make the pledge for power, resulting in the biggest upheaval in French history. The Masons took advantage of the growing atmosphere of anger amongst the French and used it to achieve their own aims with a carefully planned propaganda war. They completely controlled the media system and used it to sway the tide of public opinion. The newspapers were geared into calling for the end of the monarchy and the establishment of a society based on liberty, equality, and fraternity. The Masons' vast amounts of wealth were used to influence the political landscape of France. Politicians funded by the Masons promoted the Masonic ideology. The secret lodges of the Masons were open to members of the French army. High-ranking officers and generals were indoctrinated to the Freemasons' way of thinking. With the people, the politicians, and the military of France under Masonic control, the Masons could finally strike. On the 14th of July, 1789, a group of people stormed the Bastille, a prison in Paris. This sign of resistance against the French authorities triggered off a massive response all over France. People in villages and towns expressed their hatred for the system, symbolized by the monarchy. But it was not until 1793 that the French anger would be cooled. On the 21st of January of the same year, King Louis XVI was beheaded in front of a crowd, heralding an end to the French monarchy and paving the way for another Masonic-controlled state in Europe. With the monarchy gone, it seemed as if nothing stood between the Masons and complete control of France. However, what took place would leave the Freemasons in a serious dilemma, and what was to come next was not exactly in accordance with the Masonic plan. A young soldier by the name of Napoleon Bonaparte was about to lead France into a bloody war with Europe, and instead of dancing to the Masonic tune, Napoleon declared himself the Emperor of France. Napoleon was forced to abdicate from his throne in 1814 and was exiled to the island of Corsica. However, in 1815, Napoleon arrived in Paris again, raising a new army ready for a fresh war in Europe. The Masons had a big problem on their hands. Britain and her Masonic allies could not afford to maintain a long-term war against Napoleon without risking bankruptcy. Help came from an unlikely source. Nathan Rothschild was the head of a leading banking family, but because of their status as Jews, they were forced to work from the shadows of others. Rothschild seized the opportunity to liberate his people and offered a loan, demanding in return recognition of the Jews as equals to their European counterparts and the right to openly do business. If the Masons refused, the money could always go to Napoleon. The Masons had no choice but to accept, and the loan transaction was completed. In 1815, British, Dutch and Prussian soldiers landed in Waterloo, Belgium, where they met Napoleon's forces and defeated them. Napoleon was captured this time, never to return. France was finally under Masonic control. Although historians make little mention of the Masonic involvement in the revolution, the Masons themselves have to reveal their shadowy movements during this important period in history. In 1904, Marquis de Rosambo, a Freemason, said before a packed audience, "Freemasonry has worked in a hidden but constant manner to prepare the revolution. We are then in complete agreement that Freemasonry was the only author of the revolution, and the applause which I receive from the left, and to which I am little accustomed, proves, gentlemen, that you acknowledge with me that it was Masonry which made the French Revolution." When the so-called founding fathers of America landed on Plymouth Rock, not only did they bring with them disfranchised people, they also brought the Freemasonic elements of Europe. The injustices which the fathers of America were escaping from in Europe was also to be found in the new land, in the form of a tyrannical British regime. In order to gain complete dominance of the new state, the Masons used the same methods they had used to gain control of France. Although the British monarchy was run by the Masons, the American War of Independence was a necessary action, and the people involved in the war were expendable for the Masons to fulfill their dream. Emotions of the people were manipulated into anger, and just like France, anger turned into war. This time, however, previous mistakes would not be repeated. The near defeat that the Masons faced against Napoleon and his army in Europe taught the Masons a lesson. Any forthcoming leaders of the resistance must follow the Masonic agenda. The best way to do this was to ensure the leader himself was a Mason, and the leader who took the war to the British was none other than George Washington. On the 4th of July, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was made. On the 17th of October, 1781, the British were finally defeated and surrendered the colonies to the Americans, and the world's first Masonic state was born, a nation that would represent Masonry in every way. A sign of the Masonic presence in America is plainly visible on the dollar bill, which carries a picture of George Washington, the first Freemasonic president in the world, and a picture of the Freemasonic symbol of the so-called all-seeing one eye. Historically, the control and manipulation of political opinion has been the Freemasons' main weapon in gaining control of countries and states. Once in control of the rulers and politicians of a country, laws and political structures could be changed in accordance with their agenda. However, since restricting the body does not necessarily mean restricting the mind, the Freemason recognizes that their plan for a global government hinges completely on subduing the masses to their agenda, and thus eliminating opposition to their cause. And the greatest threat to their plan, posing more danger than any army or law, is the threat of a free-thinking mind. In order to eliminate this threat, and to achieve their objective, the Masons have set about the boldest plan ever devised: the complete control of every aspect of human life. Your life. And the weapons they are using against you are in your very homes, entertaining you and your children, and gradually indoctrinating you without you even realizing. In today's society, people are spending more and more time engaged with modern media. Television, cinema, computer games, the internet, popular fiction and popular music are an integral part of our lives. Yet these provide a vast expanse on information, which you are taking either consciously or subconsciously into your mind. Information on society ranging from ideals and morals, and the difference between right and wrong, to the way societies and economies should be structured, is passed before you every single day. These media play a significant role in providing the basis for determining an individual's view of the world and everything that exists. Thus, any one group in complete control of this information placed on these media will in effect have the power to indoctrinate practically the entire populace of the world to their way of thinking. And it is this fact that the Freemasons are exploiting. The Masons are using the entertainment industry in particular to condition people to their way of thinking, either openly or subliminally. The methods they use vary, but the goal is the same: to impose their beliefs, their ideology and their objectives on you in such a way that you begin to think of them as your own. Evidence of their presence within popular entertainment is widespread. Masonic involvement in the industry is not a new thing. Hailed as one of history's great composers, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, a Freemason himself, composed a symphony, which was an open display of Freemasonry. The symphony is based on a story taken from ancient Egyptian mythology of Isis and Osiris. The pagan rites of ancient Egyptian mythology form, through the Kabbalah, one of the fundamental aspects of Freemasonry. It is from these same pagan origins of Egypt that the symbol of the one eye stems. Evidence of the Freemasonic presence is also commonly found in the popular music of more recent times. Michael Jackson, hailed today as the king of pop, regarded as the greatest entertainer of all time, responsible for producing the best-selling album in the world, may not be known to be linked with the Freemasons. However, the cover of his Dangerous album has some interesting features. On it, the Freemasonic symbol of the one eye can be found, and also a picture of a watery lake, behind which lay burning flames. It seems as though anyone entering into the water would really be entering into the fire. The cover also has on it a picture of a bald-headed man, well known to the occult as Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley himself was a Freemason who became a Satanist and wrote the book The New Law of Man, which stated in it that it would one day replace the Quran as the law of man. Links between Freemasonry and the occult do not end there. The products of the Masonically controlled music industry are riddled with subliminal satanic messages. Backtracking is the means of placing recorded messages into soundtracks in such a way that they only become intelligible when the track is replayed backwards. When it's played forwards, however, the listener would be totally unaware that a message is being played. Although the listener may be unaware, the subconscious mind can pick up and understand the messages, and in the long term these can be stored in the subconscious mind and may actually affect the person's behavior or judgment. In many ways, backtracking is like a form of hypnotism or brainwashing and has the power to be very destructive. The first example of backtracking is from the famous female artist Madonna. It features on one of her most famous albums and is taken from the song Like a Prayer. Played forwards, the song sounds like this. However, as you will hear, it is not God that the prayer appears to be directed at, but Satan. When played backwards, the words, "O hear us, Satan," are clearly audible. The Freemasonic one eye has also been featured on the video for one of Madonna's songs, where Madonna actually appears with the one eye coming out from her forehead. Madonna also appears on a video where she is standing on some writing. Closer examination will reveal that this writing is actually Arabic, the language of the Quran. Another example of backtracking is taken from the group The Eagles, and the song is called Hotel California.
She said, we are all just prisoners here. In the master's chambers, gathered for the feast. They stab it with their steel knives, but they just can't kill the beast.
And now the song backwards. The words "Yeah, Satan" can be clearly heard when the song is played backwards. As well as containing this message, the song itself is a story in its own right. The California of the song is not a hotel, but is actually a street in America called California. It is on this very street that the headquarters of a church were founded, but it was not the type of church that one may think. Instead, it is a church that some have called the Church of Satan. It was headed and founded by Anthony Sands de Levy, the author of the Satanic Bible. It appears that the teachings of this church may have become the integral belief of many famous personalities in the entertainment industry, from rock groups to more mainstream artists. Some have gone as far as promoting the church and its beliefs. One alleged member of the church is the lead singer of the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger, who wrote the song Sympathy for the Devil. It seems that what originally started as a Christian organization later turned into a heretic religion, even for the Christians, and now has satanic elements mixed in. The entire entertainment world is rife with evidence of the Freemasons' presence. Openly or subliminally, their agenda and beliefs and ideals are propagated. This is especially evident within the film industry, on the big screen and the small screen. From big-budget Hollywood films to simple cartoons, the Masons have not left anything to chance in promoting their message of a global government. Matt Groening, the creator of one of the most popular cartoon series in television history, The Simpsons, is a self-confessed anarchist. Matt Groening himself has openly declared that he wanted to get his own political ideas across within his work. But he wanted to do this in such a way that people would find it easy to accept his ideas. And the means he chose to this was a clever little cartoon called The Simpsons. So what exactly is The Simpsons teaching us and our children? There are many lessons being programmed into us. These include disregard for authority, either parental and governmental, that bad manners and disobedience is the way to attain status amongst people, and that ignorance is trendy and cool, whereas knowledge is unfashionable. However, what is especially worrying is the Masonic undertones of one episode in particular. The episode in which the father figure of the family, Homer Simpson, becomes obsessed with a group called the Stonecutters, or should it be called the Freemasons? Upon joining the group, his fellow members find a birthmark on him, a mark that makes the rest of the group declare him to be the chosen one.
The chosen one, whom the sacred parchment prophesied would lead us to glory.
But with his newfound honor and dignity, he, Homer Simpson, fools himself into thinking that he is God.
I always wondered if there was a God, and now I know there is, and it's me.
Some may dismiss it as nothing more than a children's cartoon, a bit of harmless fun. But the influence it has on audience makes it a very effective means of propaganda, indoctrinating a people without them even realizing. Its very creators admit that they are propagating their political ideas to the audience in a covert manner. Ideas spread through the domestic television can reach a far wider audience than movies and cinema. And it is through this media that a new concept is being introduced. The concept of one global leader. Famous for his novel, The Jungle Book, Rudyard Kipling, another Freemason, wrote a book called The Man Who Would One Day Be King. This was later made into a big-budget Hollywood film, starring the likes of Sean Connery, Michael Caine, and Saeed Jaffari. The book is the story of two soldiers that journey to a country on the edge of India, a country that was once rumored to contain great riches, that once belonged to Alexander the Great. Upon reaching the country, the two soldiers are captured by the local inhabitants, a people called Kafirs, named after their country, Kafiristan. When the two men are about to be killed, a necklace is discovered around the neck of one of the soldiers. Engraved on it is the symbol of the Masonic one eye. The Kafirs revere him as their god and attribute to him the divine attribute of immortality. The man himself first regards himself as a king, and then in his newfound power begins to regard himself really as being a god. From the Muslim perspective, if not that of others, the similitudes that can be drawn from this story are very interesting. The Muslim scriptures, called Hadith, contain many prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad. In these, it is prophesied that a man would arise from amidst the Kafirs, which means infidels in Islam, who would be recognized by his one eye and would be made a world leader, claiming first to be a king and then later to being God, and that he will seem immortal until an appointed time. In another film, the concept of global leader and global government is also strongly propagated. In 1996, the film Independence Day broke all box office records, becoming the 7th highest-ranking film of all time. It entranced audiences around the world with a fictional story of an alien invasion on Earth. However, deep within the film's subliminal messages can be found, indicating the Freemasonic presence and the Freemasonic agenda. In the film, there is a military base known as Area 51. It is from here that the military offensive is launched, on which the salvation of the whole world and the future of its inhabitants depends. The entrance to this installation is a pyramid, on which is engraved the symbol of the one eye. The film shows the USA as the forerunner in establishing a global offensive, involving all the nations of the world, an offensive which is devised, controlled and commanded by one man, one overall leader. The film is part of an upsurge in an upsurge of films and television serials on the topics of aliens, UFOs, and invasions threatening the whole of mankind. These are gradually fueling the growing interest and public unrest on the issue. This is just one of the many ways in which the Freemasons are paving the way for their global government. The Freemasons are using a number of approaches to drive fear into the hearts of the masses, instilling in them the need for greater protection, and thereby the need for greater security. A need that could only be fulfilled by a worldwide coalition government, protecting the interests of all human beings across the globe.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
REFM, thought-provoking, always smoking, lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Yeah, this is the cutting edge. We see where the conscious reggae party find a home now, yes. And December for Kwanzaa official invitation, conscious reggae party celebrating Kingston Music Week. And that is Friday, December the 5th at Ashanti Oasis Restaurant. That is on Braemar Avenue. So look out for that. New Kingston come alive with the conscious reggae party right up there at Ashanti Oasis Vegetarian Restaurant. December the 5th, Kingston Music Week. Back to this, Shadows.
Other tactics that the Masons are using in order to bring about a one-world government and the need for a global security force controlled by them is to allow crime rates to soar, thus creating fear for personal and national security. The drugs industry, according to official estimates, is in terms of monetary value one of the largest industries in the world. The countries of the world are currently involved in trying to solve this problem on a national and international scale. The United States, for example, has a huge and growing drugs problem, the direct result of which has been soaring crime rates, which continue to increase at an alarming rate. Backed by the growing levels of public demand for tougher action, the government has justification to use heavy-handed, overt and covert operations to combat the drugs problem and satisfy public opinion. However, certain disturbing facts about the American drugs war throw a shadow of doubt upon its credibility and the motives of the government. It is commonly believed that during the 1960s, J. Edgar Hoover, the then chairman of the FBI, allowed the drugs trade to flourish within the African American community in an attempt to undermine the black community's uprising within American society. During the 1980s, with the threat of communism taking over Central America, money was urgently required to finance the rebellion movement against communism. And to raise this, the CIA allowed drugs to be traded into America. Revelations by the American Senator, Jack Bloom, who was part of an investigatory committee into the matter, confirms this. The pathetic justification given by the FBI for using drugs to subdue the African American community in the 1960s was that the black uprising was in actual fact a communist attempt to undermine America's involvement in Vietnam. During the Contra Wars in the 1980s, the scapegoats used to justify the flow of drugs into America were once again the communists. However, today the threat of communism no longer exists, yet the drugs trade is still flourishing in America, and the trade in international drugs trafficking is soaring, raising the question as to why.
But in the course of the Contra War, the United States, as a matter of policy, abandoned drug law enforcement, looked the other way at the kinds of conditions we were creating that enhanced the ability of traffickers to move dope into the United States, and in effect allowed a drug trade to flourish, all to support the Contra movement and to support the war.
Historically, the Freemasons have used or created problems within society to turn and manipulate events in accordance with their agenda. The rising drugs problem in America gives the authorities of all the justification needed to use stronger, heavy-handed tactics on an even wider scale. Already major transatlantic operations, as well as American and Latin American operations, have been undertaken to combat the drugs epidemic. It will not be long before there is significant backing for a strong global offensive. Distortion of the facts and usage of manufactured and biased statistics are the tools of the Freemasonic governments of today, as well as creating a public need for greater national and global security. Rising rates of crime, drug abuse, and the increasing threat of terrorism act to serve the purpose of promoting greater control of the masses. Advances in technology are the way forward for the Freemason. These allow the actions of all individuals in society to be monitored, checked, and recorded. Information is their key. The more information they have on individuals, the more accurately they can predict their actions. The Freemasons are creating a society, and in the society, choice is but an illusion. Technology is there to restrict the choices you have, and the choices you do have are in actual fact the products of a manipulated mind that has been steered into a predefined direction. Control of the masses means the complete control of every aspect of human life. Your life. Shocking acts of terrorism, soaring crime rates, and increasing incidences of violence are propounded by film, media, and government reports alike, create strong public sympathy and support for harsh tactics and surveillance techniques. In this way, more and more technology can be introduced, and the level of monitoring and surveillance can be increased, until individuals are monitored to a level more befitting a totalitarian state. Public opinion will once again be manipulated to give the Masons justification for their actions and make their goals easier. The means of monitoring the masses and storing all personal information on individuals in society on a massive mega database are already underway. Rapid movements are taking place towards storing personal information on individuals on plastic, such as banking details, driving license information, and national insurance details. Currently, these details are stored on separate cards, but plans are well underway to merge all the information onto one identity card. The consequence would be complete monitoring of all purchases and transactions and personal details of an individual at the touch of a button. In 1992, the Vice-Chancellor of the British Supreme Court, Nicholas Brown Wilkinson, told the High Court that if the information obtained by the police, the Inland Revenue, the social services, the health service and other agencies were to be gathered together in one file, the freedom of the individual would be greatly at risk. Freemasons, through the governments controlled by them, already have access to vast array of information about you. They can already find out who you talk to on the phone, where you work, where you shop, what you eat, what you wear, how much you are worth, what you earn, and the list goes on and on. One identity card would allow even closer monitoring and enable a complete psychological profile to be compiled on every individual in society. Information which would make it very easy to predict, control, and manipulate actions. However, there is a gap that the Masons need to fill in. By using hard currency, an individual can evade detection and vital information is lost since hard currency transactions are untraceable. As a result, moves are being made to replace hard currency with a system that relies totally on electronic funds transfer. In other words, a system that relies totally on cards. Trails in Swindon have heralded the first signs of a move towards the introduction of smart cards and electronic money on a national scale in the UK. The Mondex scheme is pioneered by NatWest and Midland Banks and British Telecom, and is the first British trail of a smart card. Inside a smart card is a microchip which calculates every single transaction, not only financial transactions, but records every single thing for which it is used. It can serve as a credit card, a building society passbook, library card, travel card, phone card, and quite possibly an identity card. The concept was pioneered in France, which already has its own rigorous identity system. Although an identity card would reveal much detail, it would not be able to locate any one person precisely at any given instant time. This would require some sort of tracking device that could be put on and detected wherever that person may be on the globe. The tracking device would be an all-purpose microchipped identification device, or an electronic implant placed under the skin. These implants could then send off a signal, which could then be picked up by satellite in low Earth orbit, locating and identifying the subject. Although this may sound like the works of fiction, it is, however, already well on its way to becoming reality. There are already approximately 48 global positioning satellites in orbit that are in use by the United States and her allies. These satellites can act upon incoming signals and pass down accurate information to the source of the signal about its location. At present, the source of the signals are devices that attach to tanks, battleships, aircraft, or handheld instruments for accurate navigation purposes. The next step would be to introduce the device that creates the source signal on every individual. Currently, one form of device that has been created specifically as a signal source for the satellites is the electronic tag. Already a scheme using such tags on individuals is in operation in the UK. The justification used is that it is necessary to curb the growth in the population of the already overflowing prisons. The tags fit securely around the offender's wrists and can be monitored to see if the offenders are violating curfew regulations. Pilot tagging schemes are already in operation in Greater Manchester, Berkshire and Norfolk, with plans for expansion in other countries in the coming year. In an article of the Daily Telegraph dated the 13th of November 1997, Jack Straw, the current British Home Secretary, stated that electronic tagging has developed rapidly in the past few years, as has people's confidence in it. There is no argument that it has within it the scope for further significant development. And with the people firmly under their watchful eye, the Masons can now further advance their plans for global control, manipulating them in accordance with their own ends, and this manipulation would be achieved by any means necessary. Freemasons' plan for complete global control by one governmental body means that they must pave the way for complete global economic union, complete global legislatory and political union, and complete global military union. On March the 25th, 1957, with the creation of the European Economic Community, the first significant steps in the creation of this global government were taken. Since then, the EEC has become a testing ground for the New World Order. With the basic tenets of freedom of movement between member states already established, goods and people can move relatively freely within this one superstate. The plans are already underway for the establishment of complete monetary union, and the powers of the governmental body of Europe are growing every day, paving the way for complete political and legislatory union. All this will mean that eventually, in the superstate of the European Economic Community, there will be one currency, one economy, and one government. And the government would most certainly be a Masonic government. The three most important players of the European community are Britain, France, and Germany. Britain and France have long been Masonically controlled nations. During World War II, Germany was completely annexed by Britain and France, along with the United States, another Masonic nation, and the Soviet Union. The sectors of Germany controlled by the former three countries, the Masonic nations, formed a separate political identity called West Germany. And with the downfall of the Berlin Wall, West Germany has now taken over the former East Germany. Europe is not alone in its efforts to achieve superstate status. America and Mexico are currently the only two members of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. However, the nations of the South are increasingly being pursued to join. With Masonic superstates in both Europe and America firmly established, global union would be a logical and easy progression. However, there is another problem that the Masons need to contend with if they are to be the masters of this global union. By the 1970s, it was becoming increasingly clear that the population of Europe and white America was rapidly declining. Unless something was done, the expanding size of the population of third world nations would pose a serious threat to national security of Masonically controlled countries. Western consumer power and productivity would reduce, and as a result, they would be completely dependent on that of the third world population. Somehow the gap between Western population and third world population had to be a bridge to restore Western supremacy, or more precisely, Masonic supremacy, at a global scale. In the 1970s, President Jimmy Carter commissioned the Global 2000 report. The findings of the report blamed virtually all of the world problems on the population growth of non-white people. The report went on as far as recommending the elimination of at least 2 billion people in third world nations off the face of the earth by the year 2000 in order to restore Western supremacy. Interestingly enough, also in the 70s, the AIDS epidemic broke out, claiming huge amounts of life in third world nations, as well as amongst the growing black and Hispanic population of America. It was said that the virus originated from green monkeys in Africa and was later passed on to the local population through either acts of bestiality or through consuming them as food. From there on, AIDS spread like wildfire across the African continent and later on to the rest of the world, claiming millions of lives. However, the story was just a smokescreen. On June 2nd, 1988, the Los Angeles Times published an article refuting the idea that the human AIDS virus originated from green monkeys. It uncovered evidence that the DNA composition of AIDS was totally inconsistent with that of green monkeys. In fact, it could be proven that the AIDS virus could not be found anywhere in nature and could only have ever survived in the human biological system. On July the 4th, 1984, the New Delhi newspaper in India called The Patriot published an article making the first detailed charges of AIDS as being a counter-biological warfare agent. An anonymous American anthropologist was quoted claiming that AIDS was genetically engineered at the U.S. Army's Biological Warfare Laboratory at Fort Detrick near Frederick, Maryland. Then on October the 30th, 1985, the Soviet journal Literaturная Gazeta repeated the charges made by the Indian newspaper, making it an international controversy. All this, however, was easily passed off as a communist rhetoric by the Masonic West. However, on October the 26th...
Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge on IRF Everyday Radio. The time is 1 minute past 12.
REFM, thought-provoking, always smoking, lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
All this, however, was easily passed off as a communist rhetoric by the Masonic West. However, on October the 26th, 1986, the Sunday Express became the first Western newspaper to run a front-page story confirming the findings of the Indian and Soviet newspapers entitled AIDS Made in Lab Shop. In this article, a distinguished physician, Dr. John Seal, and Professor Jacob Siegel, the retired director of the Institute of Biology at Berlin University, both concluded that the AIDS virus was man-made. The outbreak of AIDS has been linked to vaccine programs around the world. The internationally respected London Times newspaper published an article at the front page story on May the 11th, 1987, entitled "Smallpox Vaccine Triggered AIDS." The article establishes a direct correlation between the smallpox vaccine administered by the World Health Organization to an estimated 50 to 70 million people in different Central African countries and the subsequent outbreaks of AIDS in those regions. The World Health Organization is the medical wing of the United Nations. The evidence suggests that AIDS is a genetically engineered virus spread through vaccination programs in third world countries, germ warfare against the innocent and the weak, aimed at eliminating an entire populace off the face of the earth. AIDS is nothing other than the modern-day final solution, and all of this for the purpose of installing an economic policy that would give complete global domination to the Masonic West. However, for the Freemasons' economic domination on its own is not enough. In order to have Masonic governments at the head of global union, under complete Masonic control, an economic union may suffice, but to keep it there, they would need a military union, and that union would be none other than the UN. The United Nations is a general assembly of the majority of the nations of the world. Britain, France and America are already ranked within the 5 major powers of its Security Council, with the others being Russia and China. This means they have enough power to veto any motions passed. In December 1992, the President of the General Assembly declared that the UN must become a functional world parliament, and went on to say that the UN should be equipped with its own intelligence service. However, the UN has already attained military power. It operates its own army, an army that stood back while thousands of Muslims were killed by the Serbs in Bosnia, and instead implement an arms embargo that left the Muslims without any means of self-defense. When UN soldiers were sent to wage war against General Mohammed Farah Aidid during the months between June and October 1993, American helicopters fired on hospitals, houses and civilian crowds, killing hundreds of unarmed people. After an attack in which 71 died, the head of the UN mission, Admiral Jonathan Howe, said, "We knew what we were hitting. It was well planned." This was a clear breach of the Geneva Convention, but when the US military attorney was confronted on these points, his reply was that the Geneva Convention did not apply to the UN forces on the technicality that the UN is not the signatory to the convention. In other words, UN troops were free to commit any war crimes or atrocities they wanted and were above any law. In fact, the UN, far from bringing peace with it as it claims, instead has spread corruption in the land, leaving a trail of death and destruction wherever it has gone. Days of the Cold War, the very existence of the Soviet Union meant that the Freemasons' path to a global government would take time. Now that communism has been destroyed, it seems that the Freemasons can at last use the UN to achieve their goals of a global government, therefore having the entire world at their grasp with none to stand in their way, or so they thought. For as the earth cries out because of the corruption and injustice they have spread over the land, through the agonizing centuries of their domination, the world is witnessing the reawakening of an old warrior. Now, the Freemasons have another enemy to contend with, an enemy which they have thought that they have destroyed, an enemy that will never bow down to the evil and demonic plan of the Freemasons. That enemy is Islam, and against it, they have declared war. However, the Muslims have already been forewarned about an enemy that will face them, the last prophet of God, Muhammad, said that a man will appear after the Muslims have conquered a Roman city called Constantinople. He will first appear as a tyrannical king, then he will be claimed to be a prophet, and finally, he will claim to be the Lord God himself. Already the first part of the prophecy has been fulfilled. Constantinople was conquered and renamed Istanbul. The prophet further foretold that this liar would start to conquer the world, country by country, fortress by fortress, region by region, town by town, and no place will remain unscathed except the two holy cities of Mecca and Medina. He will possess powers to issue a command to the sky, and it will rain, and to the earth, and it will produce crops. He will call to a false religion and bring something which resembles paradise and hell. But that which resembles paradise will in fact be hell, and that which resembles hell will in fact be paradise. He is the Dajjal, meaning imposter, and he will be born with one eye, and your Lord is not one-eyed. It is also known that before the appearance of the Dajjal, a group of people will pave the way, setting up a system to prepare the world for his arrival. In other words, these forerunner to the Dajjal and their system will bear all the characteristics of the Dajjal, and he will be the final embodiment of these in human form. The forerunners to the Dajjal are none other than the Freemasons. The one eye is one of the ways to recognize the Dajjal. The one eye is the symbol of the Freemasons. It is part of their beliefs and is taken from ancient Egyptian mythology. In their ideology, it represents the supreme being, sometimes referred to as the great architect of the universe. The scholars of Islam say that the similitude of the Dajjal is that of the Pharaoh who tarried with the prophet Moses. The Pharaoh was a tyrannical leader who elevated himself in status and declared himself to be God. He used magicians to create illusions and fool the people, and oppressed all who did not conform to his false religion. Today, the Freemasons weave another kind of magic. The illusions they create take the form of hidden or openly propagated messages in films, televisions, cartoons, music, and all the other cogs in their well-oiled media machine. And this same media machine has continuously been put into action to slander and destroy the character of Islam, following another trait of the Dajjal, who goes further and slanders God directly. The Dajjal is an oppressor to all who do not follow him. He will have powers to increase the land harvest or destroy it, depending whether the people follow him. Similarly, the Freemasonic West, through the World Bank, hold the third world nations to ransom if they do not act in accordance with their wishes. Abundance of IMF development loans are often used to ensnare such nations, and the unattainable interest payments keep them ensnared. They are forced to submit or face economic collapse and dire poverty. Another way in which the Dajjal will control the people, either deluding them or forcing them to submit, is by spreading disease. He will have the ability to spread disease or cure it, effectively playing God. And with this power, he will delude many to his false religion. The Freemasons also play with people's lives in this manner. Evidence exists showing that many viruses have created or mutated in military labs and later used in experiments on human beings. And it has been established that AIDS is a man-made tool used to suit the purposes of Masonic West. The Dajjal shall try to strip God of all of his divine attributes and claim them for himself. This arrogance is also the way of the Freemasons, who are engaged in replacing the laws of God with those that are man-made and claiming justice across the land, trying to see and hear everything, using genetics to alter and to improve the creation to reach their false standards. Their arrogance knows no bounds, and they obey no law but that of their own making. These are the forerunners to the Dajjal. These are the Freemasons. Said that a time would come when the whole world would gather around to plan the destruction of the Muslims, as if they were gathered around a table to take part in a meal. Today the nations of the world are doing just that, around the circular tables of the United Nations General Assembly Hall. He also said that the time of the Dajjal will be years of confusion. People will believe a liar and disbelieve one who is trustworthy. and those who rebel against God will have a say in general affair. Today, during the time preceding the Dajjal, there is also a time of confusion. The system set up by the forerunners to the Dajjal have ensnared many Muslims away from truth, using lures such as wealth and materialism and fulfillment of earthly desires. A miserable trade indeed. These times of tribulation are like a giant sieve, sorting out the true believers from the apostates and hypocrites. Many have adopted the lifestyle and philosophy of the Dajjal system, retaining perhaps only their Muslim names or clothing, wearing them like a badge to their identity, and in every other way embracing wholeheartedly the system that is being used to eradicate Islam. Embracing the same system that stood back and did nothing when pregnant Muslim women had their bellies ripped open by Serbs, killing them and the contents of their wombs. The same system that stands still whilst women and small girls are being raped in Kashmir. A system that stood still whilst mothers saw their children dragged away by soldiers during the night, never to return, simply because they spoke out against being refugees in their own homeland. And the same system that said nothing to the tyrant that gassed women and children simply because he danced the Masonic tune. For those who choose this system, claim to love Allah and His Messenger, but hate what He has brought, leave the guidance that is Islam, and they adhere to the evil system of the Dajjal, living their lives in accordance with its rules and seeking from it worldly rewards, disregarding the truth that is the laws of Allah. They are those who invite upon themselves the wrath of Allah. The forerunners to the Dajjal have set up this system to destroy Islam, either directly, through military and economic coercion, or indirectly, using ideological warfare. They have divided and conquered, instilling diseases such as nationalism and racism into the heart of the Ummah. Their biggest fear is Muslim unity and revival of the message brought by the last prophet to mankind. And everything they do is geared to prevent this. They have manipulated Muslims, setting up and promoting divides. They have installed their own universal language, compelling all to learn or be shut out. And what they have used most to keep the Muslims at bay is oil. During World War I, the Freemasonic governments managed to destroy the Islamic Caliphate and annex all its territories. The part now called Iraq was put to British mandate. After its independence, the USA took over interest in Iraq. In fear of a purist Islamic uprising, the CIA aided the Ba'ath Party's rise to power, making Saddam Hussein the leader of Iraq and an ally to the Masonic states. When Kuwait later started raising its oil prices, it was destroying the war-torn economy of Iraq. Threats were made but ignored. The situation worsened until finally Iraqi troops were mobilized to the border. The Freemasonic media, the American media in particular, portrayed this as a shock and outrage. However, it is reported that the US ambassador to Kuwait had prior knowledge of the invasion and Iraq's intentions, as did the CIA. After the Gulf War, Saddam is still alive, and Kuwait has been liberated. It remains to be asked exactly what purpose the Gulf War served to its Freemasonic orchestrators. The Masonic West has long realized that the control of oil is vital to their economies. One of the main reasons is their reliance on cars and road transport. However, although technology exists to mass-produce fully operational electric cars, all attempts to do so have been vetoed. This is because oil is crucial to maintaining their world order, and without the puppet governments and leaders, such as Saddam Hussein, the Freemasonic West could not control the Muslim nations. Without the division of wealth and false leadership of these nations, nothing would prevent the purist Islamic movements from coming to power. Poverty creates unity, and Muslim unity is the greatest fear of the forerunners to the Dajjal. The Gulf Wars served many purposes: to promote Western unity, to create divides amongst the Muslim nations, to act as a testing ground for an entire arsenal of military weapons and cocktails of chemicals and drugs. But most of all, it served to ensure a strong military presence in the Middle East. The Dajjal has placed a strong hold in the very heart of Islam itself and laid a firm grip on the Muslim holy lands. But although they plan, Allah also plans, and Allah is the best of planners. The final victory will be with the Muslims. Halaka Media, the signature of quality and expression. Pioneering production. Trilling Dolby Pro Logic surround sound. Innovative, captivating.
Thought-provoking, always smoking. Lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge and RFM. You just listen to Shadows. Yeah, man, serious thing. And I know that you can go up on YouTube, go get it, you know. Yeah, because all the people call me and tell me, say them see it on YouTube. So, if you want to get it, don't call me after the program when I sleep. Don't call me 7 o'clock tomorrow morning and ask me for it. I'm going to vex. You're going to hear all a beautiful bad word for your ears if you call me never was there. If you tell me, oh, you can't get it. Okay, so, yeah, man, that's some serious information the brethren I get. Serious information. Brethren named Dwight Richards coming through. This is the Cutting Edge. Yes.
Yeah, blessed love.
Yeah, blessed man.
Yeah, you there?
Yeah, man, I'm there, man.
Yeah, man. Now imagine now, all of this information is about 20 years ago you play them theater?
Yeah, some of them, yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost without you speaking, because you're doing the journalistic evidence in black and white, so to speak. So you'd have to speak. You explain about possible chikungunya. To different ways of the Western governments who are aligned to these orders, Scottish orders.
Yeah.
Most of the prime ministers who are aligned to these 33-degree Freemason forms of Scottish order, the Governor General, and the people them still can't wake up. So you have to go repeat them things very often.
Well, that's why I say, Keep repeating them. You have to do it, man. You have to repeat them.
And then now, it's obvious that the Knights Templar or Freemason, whatever other name them have for them force behind them to help them ward off any forces. Why are you Nyabingi?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what you can use. I mean,
by the way,
if Nyabingi can work, you just work with it. If little I can throw around the road, I mean, work with it.
Yeah, so I'm saying Kabu did a whole thing on Nyabingi one son upon a running Africa.
Yeah, the Nyabingi, the Queen Nyabingi.
The lady
from Uganda.
Yeah, Uganda, yeah. Now, you see, this is what I'm saying. When you do the works, you know, people need to understand that you have to have your bucket, you have to have your forces, because I listen to you, I listen to people like Bongo Jerry, who show some serious shots per radio at daytime, like right in the government, them halls, and I know them sit down and after them look a corner of scheme how we can silence the microphone.
Shut you up, yeah.
You understand me? So while we defend certain worldviews, and we can identify best practices from your thing, I always have to make you understand, so we respect that aspect of what you do. Segue, you know, a virgin came on with a young lady on Religious Heart Talk Tuesday night, you saw it?
I hear about it, yeah.
By name, Mandito or something like that.
Him write a book. Him write a book, Rastafari. Yeah, so your name has been called up a lot, and Ian said, Ian Bowen, things that drop, you know, so him need something to boost it up, so
Ian Bowen things
boost it up. If you call some Rasta for call me name, that me cannot respond by go on him program, but it now works.
I understand it's about ratings and viewership.
Yeah, man.
But I'm saying, look out for that caller, because he have to say it in the program Tuesday night.
No, him call me already, Bridging. Him call me from him bring on Fagan.
No, you know, Fagan is a known quantity, but the way I come on and really drop some bigger bombshell.
Yeah,
and him call
like what kind of bombshell? Tell me.
No, they must say.
Oh, it'll come on tomorrow, man. I go watch it. 9:30.
You have to watch it, man. Please do. Cause remember some call and tell us about call you.
Yeah. No, but give me some information about where I say.
Basically, what Mandito is saying is that Tafari Makaded was talking about he's a disciple of the Bible.
Oh, and we need to talk about the oldest version of the Bible. It doesn't matter how old the version might be, whatever language it might be.
He's acknowledging that you is an intellect, and you know the works that you have brought to men and people is respected and appreciated. A lot of works that you have done. But in the same breath,
the Bible thing you can't work with the Bible thing. But the Bible thing him can't work with me, I say.
There are certain things, right? So because I observe quietly over the years, I see what you are dealing with. It's not that you totally declare war against XYZ. What you are doing, you're a scientist of life. You want to find the hard, black and white evidence where you can touch and say, all right, you not going to defend nothing unless you can substantiate it. That's how you are.
Thomas.
You're not even Thomas. Thomas. You're Muta, right? And Muta is about, you're a scientist of life. If you cannot produce the evidence, this particular discovery cannot be ratified. That's basically what
everything is. If you can't produce the evidence, everything is belief.
Right, so basically you walk the four corners of the earth, stuff that people are reading and being handed down from the Bible. You go and you check it out for yourself. You go to Israel, you go here, you go there, where others have never been. So you have to get your rating, you have to get your stripes. But at the same time, you are still on a search for truth.
Of course.
So we can't knock you for that. We have to respect that. You understand me? Because if some of the people who are follow the word, the teachings of Christ, who do half of the work what you are doing, they would have a little bit more credibility. Right? And that is the challenge that most of them face it. But at the same time, big up for this deal, because you know, so I'm one of those who advocate for the people them take off the veil from off of them and walk up them and walk them in here to understand what the clock is striking around them.
Yeah, man.
And program like yours, that's what it is doing. But like I said, pick out the sense and left the nonsense.
Yeah, throw where you want to and pick up where you want to pick up. Give thanks, brethren. Give thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the Continent and IRFM. You know, people have been telling me about this program. Yard boy, no easy, you know. Yard boy program look like it now get no ratings again, you know. And them need something to boost it up, and the only thing can boost it up is to find some rasta who him know will directly come out against Muta, so that him can get Muta to come on the program. No, you know, I years me I go on Yard boy program, you know. To the point where him bring all him big theologian, when name Reverend Chisholm, to the point where Reverend Chisholm go write all anti-Rasta book. And when me and Chisholm don't talk, him look on Chisholm and say, him is totally disappointed that he make the Rasta twist him up so. So him bring these Rastas continuously on the program, and the Rasta them make him draw them out. Make him, you know, like, for Muta, and them keep getting drawn out. Then I me look on Fagan, me and my brethren, the celebration for a little last day. I say, Fagan, why you no come on the TV all the while for make Mr. Ian Bowen drown out so? You know what, Mr. Ian Bowen could have never get me to come on the radio for come talk against a Rasta, no matter what. And on all ways. Because anytime Mr. Bowen call me on the TV, you know, it's me my attack and bring somebody to attack me. But when they bring the rest of them now, it make the rest of them attack me. And then the rest of them suddenly so happy and glad to get this voice over to the people them to undermine Mutabaruka. That them don't even realize it set them again set up. Because deep within them, it well want lick out against me for a long time and then get a forum for go lick it out. And Mr. Bowen, give them a forum for lick it out. And then them what, Mr. Bowen, nah, get me pan him could have ball and call lick him more, you know. Because me ask him to come on my program on TV. And him do every answer me back. Anybody will listen to me, tell Mr. Bowen say, me did ask him to come on my program when me did have it pan waiting, and him never answer me. And now him call me now through other people a push war. Well, Mr. Bowen, you can't get me to come on your program again. Because we're done with that now. You call the rest of them for fight against me. You call your big apologists, Mr. Reverend Chisholm, more than one time, more than two times. Me and him clash by your program. You call me twice. As a matter of fact, you know, I want to give thanks to Mr. Ian Bowen too. You know why I want to give thanks to Mr. Ian Bowen? Because him really just attack where I do with him. It go all over the world. And because people look on YouTube and see it all over the world, they invite me. Invite me to come. I can tell you, I've been to Europe. I've been to England many times because people saw that attack that me and Ian Bowen was doing on Chisholm. And they were so taken aback and amazed. Your little sister just called me from Montana, you know. That is one of the programs which you look on and recognize, say, but wait, this thing have to make me think. So you hear what I say now? Me done so me have to say already, and anything when me I go say on my program me I say it pan. Or if I want call me to do a next interview, my program, me have 4 hours pan this a program, and me have a next how much hours pan the next program for say what me I say. So me not really need to boost up Mr. Ian Bowen program to get ratings. My program wants some ratings. So my program wants some ratings. So you know. But you know, I will never make a guy call me on television for cuss an ex-Rasta man. Whether me accept him like a belief or not, me nah make him call me. No ball tail. Never call me on television for make me raise up against an ex-Rasta man in any theological reasoning. Because a whole heap of things Rasta say when me not agree with. Enough things. Just like what man hear me say some things and I'm not agree with it. And enough things me hear Rasta say over the years when me not agree with. And me can lay them out one by one or so. So me don't need to go up on Mr. Ian Bourne program to go lay out Rastafari contradictions. Everyone now we have contradictions. And it show up when him call Mr. Chisholm. And so to Mr. Chisholm, him know Greek, him bring all him book. And him, Mr. Chisholm, Mr. Bowen thinks him could have confound me. Him said, boy, the Rastaman don't get much long here to know. When the program done, him see him one go to Chisholm and say, boy, he make the Rastaman twist you up, man. So, me just say, me, whether Mandito, a long time Mandito writing book, and feel say him have a truth. So, make him go on with film truth. You understand? Me know where me stand. And when me talk for the people, to the people. So if I want to accept from me, I say, a film business. If I don't want to accept from me, I say, a film business. But me know so me I say what me I say. Can I learn, me come learn about Rasta. And I learn about Rasta through no book. And a book. Show me how to cook ital. And in a book show me about spirituality and define myself as a Rastafari version in a book. And because me that read the autobiography of Haile Selassie. Why me come see Haile Selassie. And because me to go find out about the teachings of His Majesty. Why me come see Haile Selassie. Me I see Haile Selassie long before any book print about Haile Selassie this and Haile Selassie that. You understand? I eat here and water, earthquake, lightning and thunder. Bush, wissy, buzz rock. And that's how we see Rasta. We don't sit down in a corner and read Bible every day if we come sight Haile Selassie. Come here all Rasta man talk about him and wait upon Jesus Christ and all them something if he come back. I mean I wonder if it never did stop and start Haile Selassie. So now look at individual man, now gonna make no individual Rasta come clash for me, pan film program. Cause many times Rasta call me upon this program and make me and then clash. It'll be as I. One day a Rasta call me and say, I must know, say, I have no authority to speak for Rasta. I never declare from this program yet. Say, I am the voice of Rastafari in Jamaica. Never. I will never do that. Anytime I talk for I as a Rasta man. I not talk for Rastafari per se, generally speaking. Because I know, say, Rastafari is a diverse cultural expression. And how one man see it in England is a different way from another man see it in New York, different from another man see it in Kingston, different from another man see it in the bush in Westmoreland, St. James or Hanover, among some ganja field. So, is that make it so beautiful? There are so many leaves, but it's one tree. It's so many rivers, but it's one sea. But that's what I work with. So, where's the advertisement again, Mama? The man make it take over and work for him. Yeah, he might get some MP tomorrow and watch. Okay. Press it. Yeah, as a point of reference about them tape when we just play, you know. The first time we play one of them tape, and we go England, a brethren come at one of the show that we do, and him say, him hear some play a tape named Shadows, and I say, yeah. Him say, look here, it's me do that tape, you know. As a matter of fact, I heard that you play that tape, and I have some more I can give you. I say, of course. And recognizing that he was a Muslim, and him recognized I was a Rasta now, it's like, it was amazing, because I know Rasta who now play that tape there because him is a Muslim. And my philosophy is that knowledge come from anywhere. And when it done, I know have to accept nothing where you say on the tape. Yet still I can see something on the tape where I can accept. And not because he's Roman Catholic, Muslim, atheist or not. I go say, I a Rasta and I play Muslim tape and I a Rasta and I play atheist tape and I know that, you know, with no guy. Because my knowledge and experience no come from just read one book. One book can't save me. It take more than book to save I. Right as well, it take more than book. So all the man them who are read book and a read Bible and tell us about Haile Selassie say you must read it. Look here, man. Information evolve. I not stuck. Just like how I not take up where a man say 4,000 years ago to come run my life as I know. I now got to Haile Selassie say something before I born or when I did just born. And after information comes prejudice, so now I just stuck in at that. I know in that, you know. Because the amount of things where it's presented to young people right now, information-wise. Man, a joke business when a man tell me about stuck, you know. Information is important for inspiration. Because without inspiration, you's lost. But to have inspiration, you have to have information. Because you're going to lead to superstition. Because all the people will have on superstition now because they don't have no information to present for his inspiration. I mean, none of them madness there. So I'm not inspired because this man did say that. Therefore, I got stuck in at that. Because I know say Haile Selassie would not want I to stuck into something that him did say 40, 50 years ago. Because him send the youth them out of Ethiopia to go get knowledge and education. Can realize say in his society in Ethiopia, it never advanced enough. So him send the youth them go all over to go get education outside of Ethiopia. You think that through the education is opposed to his way of seeing things in Ethiopia. Him going to say no. Him no want that. After him no fundamentalists where them call like the Taliban, where tell you say why woman must go to school and people not play music and all them something there. We're not that. We're not stuck in a book. No book can't hold I. I write the book, and the book write I. I write, I experience the book I try capture. And I try capture the experience of a book. No book can't have no experience. The book float around the place and go all over the place and confuse people and mix up people. I no mix up. I read the book. From Genesis to Revelation 22, I read the book. I read a book there more than one time from Genesis to Revelation. And I'm not stuck in it. Cutting edge. Cutting edge. Stop listening to your radio, man. See, I know. President, lock off the radio, man.
Yeah,
the person know that already. Yeah, the elder. Yeah, all right, go on with it.
Yeah, man. I always listen to that program, you know? I have a little place where I run a kissing town named Can't Lock.
Can't Lock.
Yeah, Can't Lock. Without windows or stuff.
And the sweetest name that the shop name Can't Lock.
Yes, I.
So you're at 24/7, you run it?
Running from 5 in the evening till any time in the early morning.
As long as people there to open.
Yes, I.
Me love that name, the Can't Lock.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
I try to listen to the educational program name each time, you know?
Yeah, man. Give thanks for that.
They have a program from Best FM where you name the oxygen. You used to deal with, you know?
Uh-huh.
And just like how they come with the information then, and I up like and I. Same said I used to come, but him not come rigid. And like them just, he want to just get rid of him.
Oh, yeah?
And I really hear no man who listen to the program, them talk about him, you know?
Oh, you don't hear about him again?
No, them take him off of the program.
Okay.
He might give the people the energy. The oxygen, them call himself, you know?
Okay.
So, you know.
Well, we still there, get the oxygen still. We still there, get the oxygen.
Yes, man, then that's why I'm still have to listen to the guy, man.
Yeah, man.
I do want, you know?
Yeah, man, of course.
And some years back, you did hear a little talk about the man them have a fall with Queen Mother, you know? Enough man no remember that woman there.
Oh, you mean our people? You mean Vibes Cartel and the Prime Minister?
Yeah, must talk about. One man left fall so far.
I was showing that now.
Boy. Because remember she did talk about him, you know.
Yeah, well, something did wrong with him still when she did talk after. Remember, she meet an accident.
Yeah, well, I hope I nothing too great, because I want to see him a black man, you know.
Yeah, man, all right, sir, give thanks.
So all is good and respect.
Never lock.
I not stop listening to that, you know.
All right, never lock. Never lock your name.
All right, sir.
All right, sir.
Name there.
Never lock. Yeah, man, give thanks. You know, man, shop name, never lock. All right, sir. Okay. Here goes. Remix. If I tell you who this is going to fall down, you know. This is Ella Fitzgerald. Monique, you know name Ella Fitzgerald? Monique, you know name Ella Fitzgerald. From Portland, she comes from. Ella Fitzgerald in a remix reggae style. Believe you me. Sweet. Not the man. Yes. Cutting edge.
Yeah, man. Greetings, Motor.
Blessed man.
You know, I'm not praying a Motor. A United States of America, world power number one, down.
United States of America.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's what them say.
I'm not saying it's like them a wage a war against black people in general with them AIDS thing from long time. And
centuries them do that.
The Ebola thing what them have more recently.
And the police them have shot down the black youth and the white police them have shot down the black youth.
Kill them off. Kill them painful and terribly, you see me? But it's like I said, them a wage a war against the Muslim them. And the way them are deal with the Muslim them is like them want to kill out the whole of them.
Yeah.
And them are kill out the black people them and them are kill out the Muslim them.
The dark skinned people them after, man.
Yeah, man. But what I say really and truly, you know, so right now, if majority of we say a Muslim, would have fear him certain way because we think he want to blow up himself and kill it.
Well, you know, so me not jumping at that bag, they still in a virgin.
No, me know, man. I don't show you how
fear. Yeah, but a Muslim, I think terrorism.
Yeah, man, I think terrorism and them thing that the American them want to kill we for them would have run to for protection.
Yeah.
And them we say as the savior same way, you see me?
Yeah.
So me I say, it's confusing, man. It's set away, man.
Whenever you the man at about how them use the media for propagate them deceptions.
Yeah, man. With all them the cartoon business and things.
Them Illuminati vibes and them things.
Yeah,
them
man.
use it to make you feel that we're wrong right and we're right wrong.
Whole heap of Satanism and all of them things there.
Yeah.
So I
subliminal.
Me call a couple weeks ago and me mention the Santa Claus business to you, see me?
Yeah. Satan cars.
Yeah, man. Satan Lucas, man.
Yes, yeah,
Satan
man.
White. Yeah,
and
man.
I see him come up back every year them time and pop up, you know.
I feel him time I hear, man. You know, man. You know, stop see I hear about him, you know.
Yeah.
Like, the whole of the thing, everything what them are promote, I am for promote it now, you know.
Of course.
Yes, I say.
With Rupert, the red-nosed reindeer.
Yeah, man, with him red-nosed reindeer and him bag of tricks.
I tell you.
I'll be a tricks him come with now, bag, you see me?
Yeah, man, give thanks.
Yeah, man, but what may I say differently still, I mentioned an artist here last time, High Purity.
High Purity?
Yeah, man, High Purity, Rasta Youth, me mentioned, and yeah, something for top off a tape for you.
A tape?
No, a CD for you, man. Yes, man.
Are you drop it off?
Yeah, drop it off last week.
You know much you drop then, you know.
You know, all asleep, after Marcia, Queen Marcia, they come up on the show.
Oh, you drop.
Yeah, all asleep, so we leave it with the security still. I don't know if you get it.
Money can get that CD there. Money not get that. No, I told you must drop it. And him not pick it up. I don't know.
Yeah, man. If you can link security sticker, we tell him to make Brian get it differently. Yes,
alright. Brian delinquent too, you know. I'll get it. I don't remember saying get it, you know.
Alright.
Never check him still.
Yeah, man. High purity, man. Heretical vibration. And big up yourself and keep up the good work.
Yeah,
you get me?
Yeah, man. Give thanks.
Man. Enough love, brother. Bless.
Yeah. Alright. And a point of interest, that's all. You know, them. When we read all the Bible and we hear them say Christ says certain things are the 10 Commandments, we could have never really fight against that, you know. The 10 Commandments is a good thing, you know. Love your neighbor as yourself, thou shalt not kill, all of these things. But guess what now? And a book tell me that, and the Bible tell me that, let me know that, you know. I want a man to know that, you know. The first time me know about that in the Bible, me did see that in the first, you know. I want a man to know that. A book will hold than the Bible. The first time me know about that in the Bible, me did see that in the first, you know. I want a man to know that. A book will hold than the Bible, me see that in the first. But suppose a man will see it in the Bible and say, I saw. When we are read Buddhism and Confucianism and them things there now. When I say, well, Rasta me I deal with them and them things, I say, all right, go and deal with that. And me just go and work with them, I work with you. So, you know, see, that me say the fullness of my journey and why I did have to go through all of them reasoning and book and paper and this and that. Because it help I to be a stronger individual. Because I know. Me not ask somebody this. Me know say. If me did from 12 tribes I read the Bible, so. I would have such a close, closeted mind that I couldn't even run a program like this. I couldn't run out. If me did that 12 tribe come right up and just read Bible. So every day you come and read out it and you hear about Bible. Because that is when we find out say a whole heap of Rasta man. From him engulfed in the Bible, him can't talk nothing. Nothing else. Can you imagine me have a program for 20 days and every day you hear me come on the radio? It's Bible me I talk about and Haile Selassie and Bible. Like say other people out there would like hear other things. I am totally pleased with myself and glad that I did go and do some other investigation to come find out things. That's when I come on the radio, I don't blindly I say this and I say that. It's like when I tell them say I couldn't do a radio program and not to play pure reggae. When me just throw my IRF, I say no, me can't sit down on the radio and play pure reggae rasta. It's a reggae radio station, but you see how the program run now. The program run with African music. And I could have never sit down on the program and not play pure reggae stuff. I'm mad. I'm mad for just sit down 4 hours and play pure reggae. And next man can't do that, you know. And if people rate to who do that. But me couldn't sit down and play pure reggae for 4 hours. Just like when I couldn't sit down for 4 hours, 20 years, I talk about Haile Selassie alone. I mean, no, say you have Rasta, we're in that mindset there. Him want push the doctrine so much that him get so fundamentalist that he would have sit down and talk about the Bible from now till thine kingdom come. And all the mistake them when I hide. Because you have people who feel say mistaking of the Bible, you know. Like a brother there. With switch up. You know, the man say, you know much time. Because I remember printing never in them days there, you know. So anytime a man translate the Bible, you know, make a copy of the Bible, he have to write it with him hand, you know. Can you imagine a man write out Macho, the book of Macho with him hand? And every time he want to send it go to Europe or send it go to Asia, he write it out with him hand. You know much error and mistake can make by the time he write it in him hand and send a man, the other man, they write it back in him hand and send it. I just the other day printing press invented. Just the other day. I'm still ask the question. Why is it that Moses write the Bible in the third person when it's him write both? I don't have no literature right that way there. So if a man can enlighten me upon it, that a man write something and talk about himself and write it in the third person. You have first person, second person, and third person, you know, am I writing in the third person? And then about tell you, say, boy, Moses write it. And mix up views and attitudes. Yes. We're there with you. Cutting edge. Okay. I want just a little anecdote about Mutabaruka, you know, because it's a serious thing. My mind's strange, you know, because you know, you see if me see a man walk in a fire, me I feel so me can walk on the fire too, you know. Because man walk on fire and me say, oh, then if you do it while me can walk on it too. Because me know say man know God does some great man where I do something different from this. So you walk on it, me can walk on it too. I mean just walk on it. Me go to one place and man I say, why, you know, me say then, oh, you go there. If you go there, me can go there too. Me not go just stand up back and get nervous and afraid. Me say, no, sir, if you go in there, me can go in there too. Because nothing wrong with you. You would have to go be the most unlucky person ever born to go make you go in there. So we're going at the all right now. Look how much people are going at this volcano. We're going at one volcano. They are going at this volcano. The volcano is what them call it. Active volcano. I mean, I say, all right, people going at the volcano there. You think me what's up there and say, why? Me not going at the volcano. Then you would have to be the most unlucky person for me going at the volcano and the volcano explode. So when be going at the volcano, because me say, but a whole heap of people going at this volcano, I mean, not nothing wrong. Them say it's a live volcano. Because when you go in there, you see the thing are bubbling there and all them something. I say, Well, me are going there now because me can't go back now, go tell people, say, boy, you want to say, me going at the volcano. I mean, me see this volcano, some people go in there, me never go in there, because I don't know where in there. No, my mind is a weird, it's almost weird. That's what my mind said, weird. Because me no feel say me so bad looking. And people are talking about them are magician and them are this and them are that. And me I say, all right, if you are a magician, me a magician too. You know, see, me no feel say you come from no outer space place where, unless he's not an earthling, they begin make a mistake. I believe say he's not an earthling. No, I'm gonna do what you do now. Then something go wrong with me. So far, it has served me quite okay. It has served me quite okay in my experience and my trad. That when a man reads something, him said, sure, that like how the Bridget just said to me a while ago, he's a scientific minded person. Very scientific. The first time he see a man down a mobile, take fire, rub on him skin. And Mr. Tourist, I go, huh? Like, what? I say, but wait, that Bridget there, me run up and down all over the place. If him can't put the fire upon him skin, my skin, I'd see him skin like for him. I don't take the fire and put upon my skin. Nothing. Because I know it's where him do. If me don't know it's where him do now, then me kind of in a some really mysterious kind of thinking. Say, boy, look how the man put the fire, look how the man rub all the fire upon him skin, Rasta. The man there some magician, you know. And magic not dead there, not dead there. Tricks in trade. Chicks in trade. So, always say I go on now. Always say I go on. Believe you me, it's the experience that teaches to wisdom. It's not wisdom don't come from above, according to what them I say. Wisdom don't come from above. Wisdom come from eat, ear, water, life. Our life of a offer. Yes. Cutting edge.
Cutting.
Yeah. Yes. Alabama.
Alabama.
Go ahead, man.
What is me good, man? How you doing?
All right. I talk about all that bridge now. That bridge come on my yard the other day and bring a book named Earthing.
Oh.
And not Earthing, H-U-R-T-I-N-G, but E-A-R-T-H-I-N, Earthing, which is a new phenomenon where them have now about walking barefoot. And them show you scientifically how walking barefoot is beneficial and all them things there. Now, true, you know, bring that book to come show me?
Yeah, man, me really have an experience to share with you to like a scientific experiment.
All right, wait there, but me don't say something about your book and my experience. Because people sometimes want to, tell me something. When you go all foreign, you go without shoes, you go on plane without shoes. Some little weird question, and I have to tell them to watch and follow me. And you know, say, me I go on plane already, you know, go to England, you know. And people in the plane are whisper, and I hear them, you know. The weirdest thing about that thing, you know. It's like, it gives a sense of your perception so heightened, you know, that sometimes a person talk about you, and you know it's what them talk about, you know. And you go to them and tell them what them talk about, and them say, they know, you know, say that you talk about. All right, here we know. More than one time, but we talk about a specific time now. We are going to England, you know, and some people they on the plane, and them say, Muta, you really are going to England barefoot in the cold. I said, then you not go on the plane to follow me, no, man. You come with me. The people, them, come off of the plane, you know. And me and them are go to the immigration, you know. And them are pee clap behind me. All right. Yes, when we reach downstairs now, if we go take up luggage, them come down there now, you know, take up for them luggage too. But this my luggage now is not no whole heap of luggage. So me come outside before them. But before me I come outside now, hear them now. Hear that one now. Go on, go see if I go outside without you. Go on. I mean, they listen to them people, I know that say. Hear the one now. Go on, man, me take up the luggage, man. Go see if I go outside without you. So me doing that, no, me don't say, all right, you know something. Me I go stand up out there, you know. Me I go stand up out there and wait till the whole of them take out them luggage and come through, you know. You swear them come outside and see me out there in that some, but remember about so much like 8 degrees, hear them Lord Jesus Christ. You know what I'm about those shoes? I say, it sweet me. It sweet me until if you could have dropped down to right, it would have dropped down, you know what? Why me I say this? If we just talk about experience, and the experience where you know, bring this book, come show me. For show me, say, you have people out there now, they must start organizations for walk barefoot. You know, be like, wow. You know, you have this, may I read this about this man from England where go, must be in a Thailand or somewhere, and them carry cameras up there for come shoot him, you know, because he's a big executive man, you know, where a 3 month him a walk barefoot for, you know. And them send camera people from England to go up, they go interview him to find out how him walk barefoot for 3 months, and other executive me I say, but look on this now. Suppose me ever hear about all Mutabaruka now, we're all 40 years in my walk without shoes started. They're supposed to give me a couple millions.
Yeah, so. So you know, the man, you know, me do have some funded this time, I just go on the one tree and lay down and just read it. And you know, say, in a book now, it talk how they make the math. Remember the math, then say they make. So, get the math and me get the voltmeter. You see, me test the voltage motor and me put the voltmeter on the mat. And put it grounded. If you don't put your hand on the lamp or the computer, the voltage in your body just rise up. So me have that on the voltmeter and me watching. So me touch my foot on the mat so they have it just drop down and me I say, wow, a serious thing I go on and so you know. I say if you go outside now and you plug at the black end, the negative in the ground and by yourself no voltage. If you wanted any electronic device, high. Still?
That's how we do the shoes. That's how we don't take off your shoes.
Say that again?
That is when you're not having the shoes.
Right, and inside where computer and
well that is a phenomenon because your foot not alright, you see when me the part stage, me can know when the mic not string up properly, you know, because me get a shock. If it's not a cordless mic or wire, me get a shock on it because my foot earthly. It earthing to the it become the conduit to the earth. Because if you have other shoes now, it prevents it from that, so you won't get the shock. But as me go up on stage and me touch a mic and the shop, me say, brethren, fix a mic here, you know. I give me a cordless mic. Some people are wonder, it's when me I say, wait, let me show you how the thing get weird. How the thing get weird, you know, that when me tell a man, say, give me an next mic, he might wonder why me I say that, he might say, them brethren, the other artists not just use a mic, the Rasta. Me I say, but the other artists did have on shoes. Him not understand that. Say, I chew him about shoes, why it not shock him? When me have it in my hand, it shock me.
Yeah, because it transfer energy and it go from where highest to the lowest.
Yes, so, you know, it's just a thing. But, yeah, man, me glad say you really recognize, if you go investigate what me I say still, you know, and give me the book. I really appreciate that book there. Me not done read it yet still.
Me that we read about the 3rd chapter, but me do a little thing in a, like with the pipe in a bathroom. Because you know your body negative electron or a tip of your hair, you know that.
Yeah, what you mean, man? If you not come in a dark room and comb out your hair, man, you see a whole electricity fly all over the place, man.
So when me do, me get a plastic comb and me run it through me hair fast, and me go turn on bathroom pipe and make it drip a little bit. And more time, so me put the plastic comb near the pipe water. You want to know, say pipe water bend towards the plastic comb in my hand, and I say, wow.
But it look like you want to kill half yourself.
No, most people are saying magic and me work up here. But that's just simple science. So me see
science,
no, I'm do it again, comb me here again. And put the plastic comb near pipe, have the pipe turn on a little bit.
The plastic comb bend toward the water.
I see the water bend. The water bend towards it, move it up here. The water move towards the comb because the energy. The negative and the positive.
Maybe that's what they make the colloidal water, them shock it. Maybe that's what they make the nana silver water, them shock it, them put electricity in it.
Okay, and shock it.
Watch out. You know something, Bridget? As we mentioned, the water said come on the TV. No, seriously, as we say to you, so I know, I just show Manika a while ago, say, watch it. The colloidal water they on the TV. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, so, me I say, man, a science thing there now, and as a year ago now, they asked the question about Moses, a year and a month exactly now. And I know you're not getting the answer. And all the beautiful, we call them electric and brilliant Christian mind, I will still can't get an answer. And a year now you ask a question.
And big young boy can't answer it neither. And them they try to get people from me and them war. A big young boy can't answer that question. The big theologian.
The real answer is there's no logical answer.
Chairman, I know Moses write it. That's so simple.
Yeah. And I never fight. I want to tell us listenership and grow, because if you have a YouTube video them again, you know, you have some brethren that link me.
I know a little sister just called, your sister from Montana just called a while ago.
I best call at me here in a long while.
You know, so some people call me and say them have goose pimples a while ago when she attack.
Oh, so man, if me almost could have cried, I feel good, man. Because I think that we alone are listening. Everybody tune in and on a critical level, that's an important part, you know. So Manique, I will get that clip there for me tomorrow, you know. Manique. You know, so I have Manique beside me, so now, believe you, me are the first in 20 it's the first in 20 odd years. Me have a female inside us, so I sit down with me in 20 odd years, the first. So you're going to get the clip for me tomorrow, you know. Yeah, you're going to get that clip there. For me, with that lady there, we call from Montana, believe you me. Some people call me and tell me say them have goose people when she attack, man. And Manique have goose people too when she attack, you know. She's still tune in. I bet you a while ago I talked to a Bahamas named Ozzy. He must show me say a preacher man, I said to him, I for the Genesis story, but he must say if you realize say light. That plant they created before light, you know. So
in the Bible, in the Bible,
the plant them would have survived.
Yeah, in the Bible, the plant them create. All right, I asked a theologian that. Up at the university, the theological college, now. EOM said to me, no. Then Muta, them plant no can't do without light for one day, man.
So I come back to our photosynthesis, car. They teach you that, you know.
Yeah, but you see, you don't learn that that church. You don't learn about photosynthesis in that church, that's that. You don't learn geography in that church. Yeah, that's why we never know say Egypt in Africa.
Never know. A couple of years ago, I figured that out. I said, oh gosh, I never know. That is all dumb.
Yeah, but the preacher don't know that neither. Most of the preacher them don't know that neither. Say Egypt in Africa. And Ethiopia in Africa. They don't know.
I'm blind, I lead blind.
Yeah, man, and some of them king in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king too.
As I tell the listenership, you have a next suit down at Fort Lauderdale, Dwight. He just straight Muta and when him girl now want to listen. Till now she had listen Muta now and I say, yeah, no more Muta can play. And she never used to listen to no Muta, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, Muta there, because she listen all of them on for YouTube and she want to hear more and have an next version that in family are persecuting, because every time I listen, you and they like to go in one corner, go listen.
Yeah, a long time. I would if youth to do that, man. I would if youth will grow up, you know, big. A long time. That's why I travel so much, you know. Because the same youth, they listen to Cutting Edge early on. Yeah. And them are sent for me all over the world, you know. Believe you. Anyway, Manique tell me, say me have to go do some advertisement. That's all. Yeah.
Manique, do you think? You know, so Bernard drop asleep.
All right. Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge and I from there with you. Yes, Cutting Edge.
Yes, greetings, Muta.
Blessed man.
Yeah, Rastafari. Yeah, man, but I just want to share that with you something I share with you my devotion this morning, you know. But we are say, Christmas will come with fun maximum. Christmas will come with the spirit of rum. Christmas will come with daughters and sons. Have no fun, but mind the money done. Because this is Christmas when Christians tell lie. But with Santa Claus, the reindeer, and the sleigh in the sky. And I never Christ's birthday match down that line. I find out who born. The 23rd of July, the King of Kings who rule and high. The Lord of Lords, the Barbers and I. You can't follow you, so don't bother try. I am learning the truth from Rastafari. So Christmas will come with fun maximum. Christmas will come with the spirit of rum. Christmas will come, the daughters and sons. Have no fun, but mind the money done, cause Christmas come only once a year. At the only time some people share and care. But still, I love the vibes in the atmosphere, the feeling of joy and good cheer. but still suffering just go and disappear. The poverty, crime, and despair. Something wrong, but you have to prepare because the Christmas will come. With fun maximum, Christmas will come with the spirit of rum. Christmas will come with your daughters and son, have no fun. But my money done now, after Christmas, at time, the Kwanzaa, African festival, start the 26th of December. Day 1, unity, we say, you moja. Day 2.
Him get cut up. Okay, him get cut up, look like him credit done. Yeah, well, that's true. Christmas will come with the spirit of the rum. Your money done. You don't see a little man come around there with a gun. You man just give your bun because you don't have no money. I don't say it go. Yes, give thanks. I remember say we will be back here from 2 p.m. to 5:45 with the stepping razor, the art of war. Yes. Soon time feed too. Yes, soon time feed. Yes, Cutting Edge, yes.
Yes, Ian Muta.
Blessed man. Oh, where the man lingo?
Yeah, man, great Muta, yeah, man.
Couple weeks, I don't hear you know, I don't hear you couple weeks, I know. I start to get nervous.
No, everything cool, man, but me I listen and thing. And I'm glad I get you with about the 4th time now, you know. I mean, tonight.
You try.
But greetings this Thursday. Yeah, man. Greetings this Thursday, the 27th of November, 2014.
Yeah, you had the program last week with Marcia?
Yes. She is one of my favorite singers.
Sweet program, man. Sweet, man. All over the world, them talk about it, man. Believe you me. I mean, literally.
For real, you know.
Yeah.
Love her from Studio One days, her music. She and Baba truly meddling the hit on them things.
Yeah.
Nice program.
Yeah, man.
Really good. I listen to it. Sure, that's why I never even worry to phone, you know. Just
no, but we never did take no phone call. We never did take no phone call.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But it was good. One of my favorite singers, she and Phyllis Dillon from them time. And talking about singers in them era that, you know, guess who was in town Saturday at the 100 Club, 100 Oxford Street? Stranger Cole and Patsy.
What? Patsy?
Yes.
The duo, man, the big duo. Yeah, man, big duo, that man.
Big duo, man, yes, and they were performing at Great Yarmouth Festival.
Yes.
And then the final show was in London Saturday night, the 22nd.
Yes.
And it was great by the 100 Club, Stranger Cole and
Them get a good turnout.
Yes, man, good turnout, man. Good turnout, and them voices sound good.
Yeah, man,
so
of course.
Big up to Stranger Cole and Patsy. Great performance.
Yeah. One to Millie Small. You hear anything about Millie Small for a long while?
Yeah, I can tell you something. She live in Shepherd's Bush. Not far from Shepherd's Bush Market for years now. But Millie is a reclusive.
Yeah.
And I'm telling it like it is, because most of those who know hiding this, for a lot of years, she had health problems. And it has resulted in very, call it eccentric behavior.
Yeah.
Yes, you know. So this is why people don't fear, you know, and she hasn't been performing and that type of thing. But she was involved with things that triggered her reclusive and eccentric behavior.
I hear you sing some tune.
In West London.
I hear you sing some tune about white man and how she love white man and white man she had to deal with and white man she had to say what? Sister Millie Small put that on a record. Put that on a record, Rasta.
Yes, but you see, it's precisely that what she sing. Yeah. Is that mess her up. Because, you know, she rejected her African roots and culture from Clarendon and thing. Yeah. And that is where the so-called love of the white man and thing, white men, get her, you know what I mean? Divorce herself from her African culture and people. Yeah. And that's the result. The sad result. And to be honest too, got involved in taking certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, you know.
And blow the mind.
Yeah.
Yes, straight. Mandingo telling it straight, you know. But her people around our company thing try to keep it quiet and thing, but Mandingo telling it just like it is. You know. One of those lost souls who lose them African roots and culture. Julius Caesar wrote in the third person, you know. Like so-called Moses. Julius Caesar. He wrote it. But so what are we the one named Boyne? What happened? Him don't stop trying to get people, Rastas, to attack you.
I tell you, I mean, every time.
Chisholm couldn't work because Chisholm get jerked. Why you? and the Rastas, them will bring. Them go, you see, what they don't understand with you, Muta, is that you have never limited yourself to reading just one type of book. Because we grew up, we read all kind of books, but we have our own mind. But we don't close our mind from reading all type of things. We read all type of things and use our own intelligence and come to our own conclusions. But if you follow a lot of Rastas, as you say, they just stick in a pigeonhole just to the so-called Christian or Hebrew Old Testament and New Testament and that type of thing. And that is the end all of their knowledge. So they restrict themselves in a what you call a knowledge prison.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's not knowledge, it's a belief prison.
It's not knowledge. That's why I use it sarcastically. It's not knowledge. It's anti-knowledge. And the thing about it, as you were mentioning, is that Haile Selassie was not for the restriction of knowledge.
But him send the youth them out of Ethiopia to go get knowledge.
Precisely. And set up the university there in Addis Ababa.
Yeah, and turn him pallets in at school. I mean, really.
You know,
the information that I and I is privy, the information that and the all of us is privy to know. I just like never privy to them information there. You know, see it. Him cannot go talk based up of him information was present to him at the time when him there. Right now, where the information I go wild left and right now, I couldn't go say no boy because Haile Selassie said that. Therefore, when I know I have other information we can show I something different, after me no idiot. Me have a brain, Rasta.
As we know, yes, because there are things happening since Haile Selassie that never existed, and so we're going to cut ourselves off from that type of thing because so these people want to be stuck in a certain time here.
In a time, time warp.
Stupid.
Time warp.
It's a time warp, not progressive. Touching upon the Muslim thing though, as you and I know, we have had two major enemies over the centuries. The Arab Muslims and the European Christians. And what pain and grieved me so much was on Saturday the 22nd when Al-Shabaab, Muslim Somalis, murdered 28 Africans in Kenya. Took about 60 Africans off the bus. And those who couldn't write the Quran also
were
shot. 9 of them were women and 19 men.
Yeah, them want them repeat the Quran.
Quran to prove that they are Muslims.
Yeah.
And then to cold-bloodedly murder our people and calling our people crusaders.
Yeah.
Now some of these Africans, not even Christians either, you know.
Yeah.
Some of them practice our original African religion.
Indigenous.
And it goes to show what our race as people have had to undergo from these two enemies. The Arab Muslims with their imperialism and the European Christians with their imperialism, using their religion, because you do many programs where you show how the Arabs use their Islam and the Europeans use Christianity as a tool to imprison the minds of our people.
African people.
And this is why I want to hear people like Farrakhan and others now who are Africans, who are Muslims, come out against these terrorists who are murdering African people because they're not Muslims.
Yeah, I don't want straight from the point, you see, but I want to go back to the Julius Caesar thing where you just mentioned.
Yes,
all right. The third person reasoning. All right.
Yes, he wrote in the
where did Julius Caesar write about him dead and where him going to bury? As a third person.
He never did that. He never did that.
You see,
his writing in the third person was just about his battles and that type of thing, but not his death.
All right. The questioning of the third person with Moses is because there is a chapter in a Deuteronomy where it is written, and this is where Moses is going to die, and this is where him is buried. And the Lord, if I did have a Bible, I'd read it to you. But there's
no, I know, because we grew up reading these books, so we know.
The third person come in question, because if a man is going to write where him bury, how him get buried, and who bury him, and
that's a total lie.
And when him write it, no, but you see, that's why we question the third person concept. The third person concept is in relationship
in terms of that scene.
He's writing and exempt himself from the whole thing, because that is really what a third person writer is doing, you know. A third person writer is not including himself in a story. So I want we just want to figure out something where you say about Julius Caesar. When Julius Caesar write, I say write in the third person, what is he writing?
I'll give an example.
Yeah.
As a third person, Julius Caesar, like he would say, and Caesar crossed over the river Rubicon.
Yes.
After he made his decision, not to turn back.
Yes.
So he was writing like it was
not him. Yes.
He's writing. Yes. Just in that sense. That's what it meant. Just in that sense. As third person. But I understand fully the third person of Moses. Because even when we remember in some of those so-called Old Testament things, they said, let us, as if it's not them. And yet Moses is supposed to be the author, you know?
Yeah, well, that's the reason why I questioning it, you know, and I want the answer, you know, is because here's a man that is telling you when him going to dead, where him bury, and who bury him. Because it is written in Deuteronomy that way. So what him doing, him is telling you, say him, even though him could know this information, but them want you to believe says him write it. When him is the third person in the whole scenario, there's something. I can't tell the English language goes. So if him is him write it, there's no way, as a matter of fact, there's no way him could have write it and give the information where him gave in a Deuteronomy.
That he was giving. Yes, and I agree totally. Yeah. Because the discrepancy that you point out in terms of Moses supposed to be writing things that he could not have written because he could not have had that experience to know that those things were going to happen.
And not only that, he write things in the book them whenever they did there. When him did I live, but hundreds of years after, there are certain places that he mentioned that wasn't there when him was alive.
Which goes to prove that it's other people who wrote it and not Moses.
Yeah, but
people mistakenly have been miseducated.
Yeah, but the theologians them agree now, you know. It doesn't command people on the road. You see, when them hear me say, them say Muta talk foolishness, but the theologian where is practicing to go to preach in the church. Him knows say not Moses write it, you know. Because him hear about J and him hear about E and the book of J and the book of E and all them things. Them separate the different books them for sure. You say this, for instance, in the first part of the Bible, it have two different creation story. And then you say, all right, it's not the same man write the two story them because it conflicting. So them give like J.
Different things.
Yes. So them know when me I talk about, you know. But the people most of the people them who are listening to me now find it not only confusing but ridiculous. That me should I say it's not Moses write it when them come grow up, come here say it's Moses write it. And them don't investigate, so our man are going to write.
They've been miseducated.
Yeah, and I have to know, them don't examine, our man are going to write something where you know, say, him couldn't experience. And it is written in the third person.
One simple answer to that. The miseducation has made them have blind faith.
Yeah.
Blind faith. And anything... So when you expose the false thing that they have, they want to, rather than congratulate you and say, Muta has shown me the truth, they get vexed and to attack you.
I say, me a devil, me a antichrist. I get some name for that program.
I am wicked. Yes, and some of the raptors them who miseducated.
Oh gosh, man!
The point can get to come on now. Them a fire burn you and things.
Me I tell you. If I
don't call by no Mister, you know.
No, me call him Mister. Me call him Mister. Me no my type of Mister me. Me I call him Mister man. Mr. Boy. Me no my type of me. Me no really want him Mister me.
Him
want the Mister, you know. Me no really necessarily want the Mister, but he want the Mister.
He want the Mister.
Then a Mister young boy man. Me not take off Mister off of nobody man. Like when police stop me say sorry. Watch out, when police stop me say sorry no. You know so when police stop me say sir, yes sir, no sir. As big man as me. Sometimes I'm older than him, sometimes I'm 30 years old, you know. I'm at 60 years old, I'm say yes sir, no sir. You want what is it, sir? You want to yes sir, tell me things here, sir, yes sir. So me talk to them, you know. Me not tell him to me not bad them up. No sir. You have the anger, me have the blade. Go on, no sir.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Ian boy now is a character where him draw out the rest of them to come lick against me, and then I thought what him want me company program now him know my stand already, you know, so me not really need to clarify my stand.
Him want you to go on his show to boost ratings of his show.
Yeah.
But as you are saying, why do him refuse to come on your show?
Yes, and not only that, if I want to argument with the rest them can call me. And me and them have it out on this program. I now go on the next man program.
You don't need this show.
No, sir.
But you know why I want your show.
Yeah, man. Boost up him things,
if you go on his show, it can boost.
Oh, you mean, man? And the biggest... The biggest...
that his show is slapping.
Look here. When me company to them, say this is going to be the biggest attack. When me and Chizam, the panel program, him introduce it as, this is going to be the biggest attack him ever do, you know. And that him saying at the first part, you know. Yeah, the clash. Him say a clash.
That him can't do without your presence to make him show successful.
Look, him call me the other day, man. Why me go against Fagan, you know? Me say, no, sir, me not talk against Fagan. Fagan attack against me.
No. And then you've been there and done that.
So last night now, a man called me and tell me say, this program a come on now. This abridging us. So tomorrow morning, me go watch it. Because me tell us me, the program was all about me and the youth. The brethren, the planet name, Mandingo name. Mandingo.
No, Mandingo, man.
When name?
Mandingo.
No, man, a Mandingo. Mandito.
That sound like a mosquito.
No, Mandito, I think it belongs to the Jamaica a vintage artist and them something. Them write a book.
Oh, Java, I know.
And him sing with him sing with Baga Case, our old schoolmate.
Kingston Technical.
Yeah, him sing with Baga Case.
Java. I know. But remember, Java founded because of our Kingston Technical man, Scott, David Scott,
Yeah, we're dead,
Scott is passing that inspired the foundation of Java and...
Yeah, well, I think Mandito is that secretary. I think Mandito is the secretary for them, but really and truly, him write this book. Him write this book, and him now bring the truth. I don't know why everybody feels him can't bring the truth out of the Bible, not. If I can bring the truth now, so I write this book now to clarify all of the things them now and show why Mutabaruka is on the wrong track. I on the wrong track. I think I heard up on the wrong. And
so that is his claim to fame now, writing a book showing say Mutabaruka is on the wrong track.
But wait now, listen to this now. A man texted me a while ago. I never remember to mention this now. Our brethren just called me a while ago and talk about Ian Bowen bring this brother up in the boat. A man text me a while ago and said the brother the pantal Marcus Garvey Malik against too. He must say Marcus. Yeah, he must say the brethren text me and say because Marcus Garvey and I let's say have the altercation now. We can't say Garvey is the forerunner for Marcus for Haile Selassie. So right away me realize about
But that is so stupid because in chronological order. Time-wise, Marcus Garvey was before Haile Selassie.
Yeah, but where must say because Rasta hold Marcus Garvey in such high esteem. Like how they would have said John the Baptist. He must say Marcus Garvey is not deserving. I can't do where the text, but I can see if I can find the text. No, I'm not going to find it before the program.
I believe you. No, man. Yeah. No, I believe.
Him said the brethren attack. Apparently, they have a lady upon it, but him said the brethren attack like Rasta misguided because Marcus Garvey it's like him can't figure out him can't figure out how Rasta talk about Marcus Garvey that way there when Marcus Garvey never did recognize Haile Selassie. Yet till Haile Selassie didn't recognize Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
From in the Rastafari days, Haile Selassie, that is how the Ethiopian World Federation come about, The Ethiopian World Federation come out because Haile Selassie did not support the UNIA from them time then. And he did not support the Mandela, he did not support Mugabe, all of them freedom liberation struggle in Africa, he did not support it. So because Marcus Garvey wanted to see Haile Selassie in England, they never get to see him. That is how the little problem start. But we are talking about something spiritual and we are talking about something political. We can't mix up politics with spirit. We have to know how to separate that. Marcus Garvey is our political pan-Africanist leader. We can't fight them.
Exactly.
There's no way we can lick that.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah.
The greatest pan-Africanist leader ever. Founded the largest and most successful pan-Africanist organization in history.
We search for Haile Selassie for that spirit of liberation and truth. We search in a Marcus Garvey as a political entity that guides us as Africa for Africans, those at home and those abroad. There's no conflict.
Precisely.
No conflict.
So there's no conflict precisely. Well, this is what happens when you have people who employ divide and rule tactics amongst African people. And this is why it is important that we are doing what we are doing to prevent those divide and rule tactics.
Yes. Anyway, we have to move, brethren. We have to move.
Yes. Keep up the good work and keep on keeping on. And lovely, as a reason, Marcia Griffiths last week. And big up to Stranger Cole and Patsy every time. Blessed love every time.
Kwanzaa, cause it's a way to teach the principles that we must learn to reap the wealth of every seed we sow. The Nguzo Saba gives us values and a way to show we're building a future we can hold.
Yeah, we want to give thanks to the moment, give thanks to the time and the energy. Give thanks to Brian, give thanks to Monique. Give thanks to the people them who sit up with me, with them matchstick hold up them high, and them coffee, and them gun on them side, and listen to it. Yeah, man. So you know, so we're there a little more from 2 to 5:45 with the stepping razor, the art of war. So you know, so we're gonna go out here right now with some mental music. Yeah, we're going to have a couple minutes before we say Matrix are coming. You know, they're ready.
Responsibility for our global economic and political destiny. I want to say that I'm an African.
Oh, I yell up Kishan. Yes, we was told to yell up Kishan. You understand? It's in the valley there, we was told to your location. So you know, all the girl let me listen to you right now. This is for you.
We got some glamour gal in this town. Why I tell you, them brain is sound. Them know the way to dress up in style, and them have them man all the while. That's the kind of gal. They call it glamour gal. A solid treat. You might not like it, but them look sweet. Them have one style them call coke and roll. Another one that them call drop curl. That's the kind of gal. They call you glamour gal, and that's the kind of gal that will always take them on. Them have one style that them call up sleep. One too much that them call down sleep. Them have one style that them call page wide. Another one that them call big treat. That's the kind of gal. In place a black spot beside them nose, then them call that the movie pose. And if them too black and it don't show, them put on bleaching cream, as you know. That's the kind of girl. They call it glamour girl, and that's the kind of girl that will always make them mad. I run past one Saturday night, why I never see such a peace inside. But when she leave me, my cab was bent. Sunday morning I pay no rent. That's the kind of girl. They call it glamour girl, and that's the kind of girl that will always make them mad.
Hey, I don't know if Mandingo are listening, but I want you call me back. Mandingo, call me back here. Believe you me, call me back.
Even looking flat, new style brazier will take care of that. That's the kind of girl. They call it glamour girl, and that's the kind of girl that will always make them mad. Now listen folks to what I have to say. These country girl them have a funny way. But when them go down to walk, a jijji bop, and when you touch them, them say, no bother me. But if you want to see Kingston and walk, don't hesitate to ask them what them want. A jijji bop, bop, girl, no bother me. When the rainy weather was freezing thin, we drive at the house, they put us on the screen. All the house began to leak, and the whole foundation sleep. Drive at the house, them know where to send. Man, I shouldn't pay so much to be rent. Early one morning, the landlord went to one of his tenants to collect some rent. The tenant said, master, me no food, me not pay no rent, me no swimming pool. Drive at the house, them know where to send. Man, I shouldn't pay so much to be rent. Look on the room you rent me to live. The whole of the top just like a sieve. When me go to bed if me sleep too song, be sure to make it me would sure to drown. Drive at the home, them know what to say. Man, I shouldn't pay so much to me rent. Them know what to say. Man, I shouldn't pay so much to me rent. As to the yard, it is so spunk. When rain come, all the tenants
no have no bath. And when you complain, bailiff mark you not. That's why the tenant them beat till late. And them cat them bath in a enamel plate. Dry with a home. Man is not a thing. Man shouldn't pay so much for your rent. Some of the rooms them is so small that you cannot turn in the name at all. When you want to turn, you got to go outside. Then you turn your back and reverse inside. Drive with a home, there's nowhere to send. Man, I shouldn't pay so much for my rent.
Stepping up. Stepping up. Stepping up.